Hey man.
Hey Kevin, how's it going?
Hey, good, thanks. You?
Yes, I'm so happy you're here. This is going to be awesome.
Thanks for having me, man.
It's going to be fun. Hi everybody who's listening, who was listening to Kevin's lovely playing during the countdown. Um, yeah, tell us, like I always say, I know I say this every single episode, but tell me if there's issues with the audio balance. I can adjust it. And yeah, so we haven't actually met before. This is like,
Nope.
I mean, now we've ended up video chatting once because of Karen de los Condes.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like kind of my first real full conversation with you too, which will be fun. Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself quickly before we listen to you play something?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Kevin Low. I'm a classical guitarist from Singapore, so that's Southeast Asia. And I started playing guitar when I was about 5 years old, when my father introduced me to the instrument. And subsequently, I was very fortunate to study at the Yehudi Menuhin School in the UK when I was about 12, 13, turning 13. Went there for 7 years, 7 amazing years, and then uh, I served 2 years in the military after that. And then I went on to university. In fact, I'm back in the UK studying at the University of Cambridge doing academic music. And I've just finished my first year. I've been back in Singapore since March because of the whole pandemic, and sort of just laying it low and sort of just, taking care of ourselves and
Well,
staying at
yeah,
home.
you're able to do all your exams remotely, like a lot of people have been doing, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So a
finishing.
lot of essays and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but nice. Well, we'll talk about Cambridge. Don't worry. We'll talk about how pretentious it is. just kidding. We'll talk about how great it is, I'm sure. Ben Diamond says the picture is sharp. Yeah, Kevin was telling me you have a pretty awesome setup there, it sounds like.
Yeah. So I've got my dad to thank. Like he takes all the credit for this. Like ever since I was a young boy,
Hmm.
guitar has always been a part of the family because he played it as a teenager,
Hmm.
but not professionally. He's in the IT industry by profession.
Cool.
But
IT
I'll
industry,
tell.
therefore the amazing camera setup.
Well, yeah, well, there's that, and my dad and I have certainly been learning, on the job because he was the one who set up everything and actually got my YouTube channel going. It wasn't the intention of, YouTube. This is what we're doing, and therefore we record everything. When I
Hmm.
was young, we'd be playing together as duos with my mom behind the camera actually, and she'd be recording us, and it was the idea of a family bonding activity.
Cool.
Because my dad was teaching me using the Suzuki method at the time. He wasn't certified, but he used the materials. But the only reason why it was Suzuki was because when I was 4, I picked up the violin using the Suzuki method, and I got kicked out after 3 months. So my dad was like, "Okay, what method could we continue to perhaps explore the guitar?"
Hmm.
My dad just continued with the Suzuki method. And
Cool. That's
yeah,
amazing. Actually, your dad's name is Marcus, right?
yeah,
Marcus though says, "Hi, Michael. You were a little soft." Thank you, Marcus. I tried to turn my mic up, so tell me if I'm still too soft. Clearly, he knows his
so
way around the
yeah,
tech. That's really
yeah.
cool.
So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
like
so he's
sorry, it's just really important. I think to have a YouTube channel, no matter what you do as a musician. So it's awesome that you started out early with it.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate that he's helped me out with that a lot, so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, actually, let's listen to one of your videos. It's a good segue before we get
Yeah.
more into it. So we're going to listen to a recording of you playing some music by Clarice Assads. And many of the guitarists will recognize the last name. But do you want to tell us about this piece, Kevin?
Yeah. So this piece by Clarice Assad is called "The Last Song." It's a really beautiful sort of jazzy piece that was originally for piano. I think she often, does piano and a bit of singing here and there. But there was this really nice arrangement that I found that was done for guitar, and I thought, wow, it's gorgeous. And it's one of those pieces where you tune to G and C on the bass string, and I'm like, okay,
Nice.
that's fun to try. So let's give it a go. I
Cool.
love it. I love this piece.
Awesome. I was going through, like, on YouTube, like, looking at the related videos or whatever, and there's David Russell playing the same arrangement, I think, right? It sounded the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Cool. Did he make the arrangement or no?
No, someone else did.
Okay.
I'm very bad with pronunciation, so I shan't attempt to do it now.
Okay.
But
No worries. Yeah, and there was also a video of like Sergio and Odair playing it with Clarice, which is cool.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah. So obviously that's also a family affair, you know.
yeah.
Ben says, "Oh, Clarice, she has an epic guitar concerto that Mark Teicholz performed." Yes, Mark Teicholz plays that concerto very nicely.
I don't know that one. Damn,
Ah,
I'll go
okay.
check it out.
Yeah, she has a guitar concerto, and there's some YouTube videos. I think of fragments of it, if I'm not mistaken. Probably not the whole thing, although I'm not
Okay.
sure. Yeah, Mark is amazing. I mean, I don't know if you know him and his playing, but yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, cool. Okay, let's listen to the last song by Clarice Assad, and this recording you did recently, right?
Just a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Cool, nice. All right. Gorgeous.
Oh, thanks, man.
Very nice. Beautiful music, beautifully played.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I love that piece.
Yeah, it's super beautiful, wonderful ending too. Um, nice. Well, you kind of gave a quick summary of your life, but
Yeah.
what are you up to now? Like, what are your projects? I guess before the pandemic, but like, I guess you've been doing stuff during the pandemic too. Um,
Yeah. So, I mean, during the pandemic, when I came back, it was sort of like mid-March, April, I guess.
yeah.
And things were sort of guitar-related things I've had to put on hold until recently because I was focusing very much on my exams, and sort of this was the first time where none of my exams were sort of performance related. I
Yeah.
had like at least 7 or 8 essays to deal with other sort of music harmony and other assignments to deal with, and I by no means an expert in any of these topics. So I was like, damn, I really got to put my head
Yeah,
down and
yeah,
get to
yeah.
work.
Well, the
So
program is pretty. The program in Cambridge, if you told me before, is pretty like academic focused, not so much performance focused, right?
yeah, in fact, performing is one of the options where, and you can actually, get through the course without doing any performance at all if
Oh,
you
how nice.
wanted. So yeah, I mean, this course it's just called music. They don't even call it musicology or anything like that. But basically, it is academically focused. And the first year, I didn't get to pick anything of what I was doing. So a lot of it was sort of music history, music analysis. We had to write 16th century counterpoint. We've had to write fugue expositions. We've had to write piano variations, string quartets.
Wow.
It's like the stuff that I have had no training on
I mean,
whatsoever.
it's probably good for you though, because like you are someone who's had a pretty good technique and ability to play what you want for a while. I would say, from what I've seen of your playing. So
Well,
I
thank
mean,
you.
maybe you don't feel that way all the time. I know, but like I'm just saying, if you're at that place where like your technique is not such a problem for you, maybe like this
Yeah.
kind of deeper understanding of music would be useful as a performer, right? Because you can dive more into what you're actually learning about the repertoire. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that was certainly one of the aims when I got into this course. I was looking to, I just knew that I was at a stage where, all these background knowledge about music and like history, that was something that I had very little knowledge about. I mean, when I first started learning the guitar, I was like, wait, Sevilla was originally a piano piece? What?
Right, yeah,
Like
yeah,
that kind of thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like once you start learning more and more, I was like, oh my gosh, I should have realized. And it's sort of making more and more of these kind of revelations through, just
Study. Yeah.
even some basic things in academic music. Yeah. So it's been really eye-opening, really eye-opening.
Yeah, and also, classical guitarists, we're in our own little bubble. It's nice to get out of the bubble. So maybe studying more classical music in general for you,
Yeah.
would
Uh-huh.
put you in a good spot as a guitarist too, because you won't be sort of stuck in the bubble. Whereas like if you go study with, a star teacher and go to all guitar festivals and stuff, you kind of it reinforces kind of that like sectioned
Yeah.
off, mentality. Not that there's anything
Yeah.
wrong with being in the guitar
No.
world, very, but just, yeah.
But I think it's a matter of how informed, we can be in our musical performance, right? I
Right.
mean, I'm sure that some of the people that I've seen anyway on your stream would have probably mentioned that, they don't listen to as much classical guitar music nowadays.
Yes. Yeah, very true.
And I would say that that's actually a trend that I've found with some of my friends as well, because I think there's a lot of stylistic knowledge to gain from listening to other types of music, which we then use to then inform our own performance, right?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So like if
yeah.
we're playing Diabelli, for example, or we can listen to Beethoven, or that kind of classical tradition that feeds back into how we perform those pieces, rather than the other way around. I guess to a point you could argue that. I don't know, but
Yeah. Well, I
You
mean,
know what I mean.
it's the best teachers also are getting you to sort of not necessarily just listen to other instruments, but to think of the guitar as an expression for musical ideas beyond being just a guitar and beyond just doing what
Yeah.
you expect from a guitar, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
Carlo has been great for that with me. Well, I guess now I'm done. I finished last week my last lesson after the exam. So Carlo was great as a teacher for that for me before I finished. Where he, you know, he was getting me all the time to think about. Well, I was playing Giuliani and I was playing the Grand Overture, and it was like, you know, what instrument is this line and those kind of things. I mean, that's like a typical example, but beyond that, I don't just mean like, oh, this is an oboe and this is a cello. It's not just like that, but it's also like, how does the guitar used to express some musical idea that's universal beyond guitar is useful or stylistic, like you said. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of the things that I tell my younger students more often than not is to not let the technicalities of the instrument justify what you do musically, but rather the other way around, right? Because if you let the technical sort of conveniences take over your train of thought, you can think, oh, it's really easy to just keep a barre on there, when actually, when at that stage of your development as a student, you might not be thinking, oh, actually, I shouldn't really be letting these extra strings resonate, for example. You've got to keep them damp to maintain the right harmony, et cetera, that kind of thing.
Yeah, actually,
so,
one of the one of the very first lessons I give new students once they can play on even just two strings is the concept of legato and staccato, and the length of the voices, and like how do you have two notes in a melody connected? What happens if we make them overlap? What happens if we put a space between them and make them, you know, there's a pause? To students, that seems like a counterintuitive thing, but if they don't get that early on, I have the feeling that that doesn't become a central part of what they think of when they're learning a piece or when they're choosing a fingering, and that's a problem down the road.
And that's a great example, actually, because that's a very nice and vivid example to give younger students, to be like, think about how prickly, or, you know, giving, you know, how would you describe this kind of sharp sound or this very smooth sound? It's very easy for them to visualize that, and then at the same time with staccato, you're obviously developing sort of natural speed with the quicker return, the more you try to practice that, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
But I think like just the elements of music that the guitar is kind of subject to, like the length of voices in guitar playing is obviously a problem, like technically for our instrument. But like you said, you don't want to develop in a way where you just do whatever's convenient for playing and you're not thinking about that aspect at all. I think starting from a point of like, this is the basis of music, length of voices, melody, rhythm, harmony. Everything that we do on the guitar has to be subject to those things rather than the other way around, like you said. So
I'm still guilty of sort of being orientated about technique whenever I teach. I mean, I'm not by any means an experienced teacher. I'm only teaching a couple of students here and there, although, you know, trying to get more experience. But I know for a fact that sometimes I get carried away with the technical bits, like too much. So because it's such a technical instrument as well, right? There's so many things we have to really be careful about, which is why it's so easy to
fixate on that. Yeah, it's true. I think like there's also a question of a trade-off with most students, because, you know, some students, many students aren't going to have enough time to really do everything really well, both technically and musically, like to the point of like doing it all, executing it all perfectly all the time. And that's totally fine, right? That's even professionals. Many professionals can't do every part of the music perfectly all the time, you know? So, but what I mean is, like, it's also a question of like, what sacrifice do you choose to make, and what do you encourage them to do? Do you encourage them to worry just about the technical things, or do you also encourage them to think about the musical things, even if it means sacrificing some time on technique? Because to you as a teacher and to them as a player, the fundamentals of length of voices and stuff like that are more important in some ways. I don't know.
I think ideally, the issue is that with technicality, your technical skills, that's something that you can systematically develop.
Yes.
If you follow the right process, but developing that musical instinct, now that takes time.
Yes, but even just like I think, you know, with like articulations and dynamics, it's like that takes time for sure, but it also can be developed systematically, and should be, actually. I think a lot of people just don't. Sort of, I think some teachers get to the end of teaching a piece and the student has the technique, and then they're kind of like, okay, well, here's the dynamics and here's the articulations. It's like, you know, that has to be worked into the whole program from day one. I feel like, you know, you can't just sort of tack it on at the end and expect it to happen. It's just I don't know. Anyhow, Matthias van Kutsum says, hey friends. Hi, Matthias.
Oh, Oh man, it's been ages. I hope he's doing well.
Yes, for sure. And Ioana Ganzleber says, I like to make them think of words with long and short syllables. That's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Nice.
a great one. Yeah.
Well, we kind of got off the track of your actual life, but I guess this started with discussion about Cambridge. So writing papers. Okay, are you getting a lot better with like research also this way?
Uh, Whether I like it or not, yes.
Okay.
I, I, I never had a natural flair for writing. People who know me sort of relatively well will know that. But I've basically had to put it to practice and really dealing with the essays as they've come and gone. I mean, during my second term in Cambridge, I really felt like it was a crisis point for me where I was like, oh damn, I was working deadline after deadline after deadline, and I was like, okay, wow, I just really have to do it. So, I mean, yeah, I've got a long way to go, but I definitely knew that signing up for this course was something that would give me that opportunity to focus on it, and I knew I wanted to, improve on it. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that will help you as a player too. I think it's
yeah,
very easy to kind of just be like, I have this question about this piece of music, but do people actually go and research it? Like look for other editions, look for
hmm
source material of the composer or the editor talking about it.
yeah. I think one thing it certainly forces me to think about more clearly is how do I specifically articulate something and that has been something that has intrigued me a lot with teaching. I know it's sort of tying back into it, and I've not done a lot of teaching, but I've thought about how do I carefully, as a sort of young teacher, I've not done a lot. How do I articulate something for a young student to inspire a certain thought process musically, for example?
Mm-hmm.
So it's having to work with that in essay writing as well, and how to phrase, how to write it in an academic style, which I'm sure you've had some experience doing already, and
Yeah,
it's
I have
tough.
to do it a little bit.
So
I mean, the program that I was in was not highly academic at all. The one in Vancouver actually was more so than in Maastricht. It was less performance focused,
okay,
but it was still a very performance focused. So it wasn't like this Cambridge thing. I think articulating your ideas is super important as a teacher. Like, well, actually as a performer also. Besides just announcing the piece on stage, it also puts you in the mindset of thinking about like, how do I communicate my ideas to the audience in a way they'll understand,
yeah,
right? Because sometimes
yeah,
you can say something without making it understandable, and then it's like, what was the point of saying it?
yeah,
Whether that's on the instrument or verbally, right? And so, and as a teacher too,
yeah,
like, you know, I think music is really a language. Like that, I know that metaphor is a bit
yeah,
tired, but when you're teaching someone a new language, you gotta explain a lot of stuff that's not intuitive to people. Like it seems intuitive to you because you speak this language, but like,
yeah.
how do you introduce it to someone who's like totally new to this?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. In fact, there's this chamber music group here in Singapore that I've been involved with called More Than Music, and
Okay.
they are run by two friends of mine. One's a violinist and one's a pianist. They're all amazing musicians, and they actually are now teaching at the local conservatoire where they used to study. Uh, what they focus on as part of their rehearsals, time and time again, is the speeches between pieces.
Yeah.
In fact, that's arguably the stuff that we spend most time on. Rehearsals, not so much. It's always about what we have to say, the story that we tell the audience, because the audience that we usually perform to are not musicians,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really putting them in that atmosphere of say we're going to perform a piece by Debussy or some impressionist repertoire. The pianist was working on her, I think it was a PhD relating to Paul Griffiths.
Okay.
Amazing piano repertoire that's sort of similar to Debussy but not quite. And really having to articulate those ideas and putting them in that atmosphere in order to prepare them for what they're about to listen to. It actually, having seen that in action, it changes the audience's perception of the music in a really significant way.
Yeah, I know in Europe it's more common not to talk much between pieces, but I really don't agree with this trend. Like, I just think like okay, maybe depending on the kind of audience you have, like you said, you could have an audience like at a guitar festival where it's like, okay, maybe you tell a funny story or something, but like you don't need to explain the music. But so many audiences now, it's just like you can't just throw people in unprepared, even with something tonal. Like it just doesn't work. And the other point is that I think a lot of people have this feeling like, well, people should just like get the music. It's good enough how I play it that it should be understandable. And the problem is like, especially when you play like contemporary music and stuff, like if you don't prepare people, it can crash and burn no matter how well you play. And vice versa. Sometimes you can have a performance you're not super happy with, but if you prepared them right, they're going to overlook some of those things because they're like, oh, I really understand what he was talking about in the intro. Like.
Yeah, that's very true.
I don't know.
I think, I forgot who told me this, but I remember that someone told me that it really depends on the setting and what kind of show you're trying to perform.
Yeah.
I think there's always an occasion for a different type of performance. So if you're looking at a concert where you're there, you're in tails, you're there to do a proper recital and no speaking at all, start to finish. That's like there's a time and place for that kind of thing, and then there's also the time and place for speaking between pieces and actually getting to connect with your audience, which I feel personally that that's very much my preferred thing. I think particularly in Singapore, because classical music here is so young. Think about it. We are only, as a country, we've only been independent for 50 plus years. We're like super young. And in terms of audience, classical music in a country that's already very small in terms of population as well, we are constantly doing whatever we can to connect with audiences and getting to raise the awareness of classical music. So whatever we do, with speaking, it's so powerful because it really can make or break the performance sometimes.
Yeah, I think you do have to read the room for sure. I also just question going into the future how long there will be that situation where you can just play a recital from start to finish without saying anything. Like how long audiences in the 21st century are gonna, there's going to be enough of an audience that will just get that, like I just question if that's going to be like still possible in 20, 30 years. And I don't mean that as to be alarmist or like depressed about the state of classical music. What I mean is that just the media that people sort of grow up imbibing, like just by virtue of what's popular.
I think it's environmental and culturally influenced. That's for sure. Yeah. So, as you say, the sort of medium in which we receive entertainment now as well is one factor, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I also don't see how the context really hurts, even with an audience that does know the music, if it's communicated in a succinct and clear way. It's not like dumbed down. People don't want to be patronized either, that's the thing. They want to be talked to as if they're intelligent, but they still want to understand what's going on.
Right, yeah. So sort of drawing all of that back to articulation, it's something that's really sort of driving me nuts in the work I've had to do with essays.
Right.
So sort of bringing it back to the whole studying thing. I think with my second year, I'm thinking about, I get to pick half of my courses, and I know like I'm going to start doing, I'm thinking about ethnomusicology for one of my papers next year. So that will be really interesting and with, I don't know, ethnomusicology, I'll do performance. They'll also give performance-based essays. I'll also probably be doing music and science. Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of technical terms and things like that. So a lot of writing to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Cool, nice. Well, you got your work cut out for you. That's nice.
Yeah.
I think you've probably watched enough shows. You've been so active in the chat, Kevin, which I really appreciate. But you've watched. I think you've watched enough of the shows that you know what I'm going to ask you next. So, what's the next question? Can you guess?
Oh, okay. How do I define the classical guitar?
Yeah, not the classical guitar. How do you define classical guitar?
Classical guitar.
Yes. The classical guitar sounds like just the instrument. This could be either the instrument or the style or both. Or what do you?
Yikes! I should have thought about this, but
you've watched enough shows that you know it's coming.
Yeah. I think classical guitar. Again, I can go down the route of arguing what the definition of classical is within this whole conversation,
Yeah,
because
that's a whole other kettle of fish.
that's a whole, yeah. But I think as it stands now, I think classical guitar is ultimately a medium where we express, the different ideas we have through music, but in a very specific way.
Like technically?
Because, so for example, arrangements.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I found, almost exclusively with guitar that is done so much more with than other instruments.
Yeah.
Like when I was at the Menuhin school, it was a school for string instruments specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like violin, viola, cello, bass. We also had piano, but then guitar was like the odd one out in between, as it were. And like, I remember at that point I was working with so many arrangements on different pieces, right? And I look around and I'm like, whoa, okay, everyone's playing original stuff, and they have that whole thing about, okay, they have more than plenty of repertoire, whereas people with the guitar are always get the impression like, okay, maybe we don't have enough repertoire, we got to look out for more things, that kind of.
Well, also we're missing
thought.
missing like the Baroque era and stuff, so like
Yeah,
that's pretty big. Yeah.
and then if you want to, I'm not very informed on this part of the history of the instrument, but like, if you want to argue, there's also that conversation of having the guitar in like salons, in like smaller concert
Spaces,
venues,
yeah.
whereas in comparison to the grand concert hall, where does the classical guitar fit?
Right now,
this
not
sort of
really anywhere.
spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because
we were in the salon, and then Segovia and other people tried to get us out of there, and then
yeah, and I think there's a place for classical guitar in these different scenarios, but how effective is it as a medium in these different places? So like if you play in a huge concert hall, how effective is it truly?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I
ultimately,
mean, that depends also what you think of things like amplification and stuff, and.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And there are people who are that purist that they'll be like, I don't mean guitar, I mean like musicians in general, they'll be like, amplification? No way.
Get out, yeah. Well, I mean, singers amplify in like some opera houses now too. Not everywhere, but it does happen. I guess, I mean, I almost think there's a difference, for example, between the success of amplified guitar concerto and amplified solo guitar recital in a big hall. Like I feel like if you play the Aranjuez amplified with an orchestra, it makes sense. But I feel like if you play a solo guitar recital in a giant hall with amplification, it is a bit weird to me. Like, I'm sure people can give good concerts in that sitting, but to me, it's kind of like if you're playing solo guitar, wouldn't you want a smaller hall so that you get the real sound of the instrument? And I'm actually not against amplification in general, even for solo recitals. I just mean like,
yeah, of course.
I don't know. There's a different thing between the repertoire of a concerto versus solo.
No, but absolutely, I absolutely agree. Yeah, I think there's definitely some sort of mismatch if you did a solo recital in like a huge hall.
Yeah.
I think because
plus, like, how are you ever going to get a big enough audience for that? I mean.
Well, that too. You are also putting your performance in the hands of audio crew. So there was one time where it's this story is a little bit of a, I don't know if cringe is the right word, but basically there was once I was very fortunate to perform the Aranjuez Concerto with a local community orchestra. Mm-hmm. They are all, most of them are not professional musicians by any means, but they are a really, really good standard.
Yeah.
They're one of the best local orchestras there are. And what happened in the first movement of the movement was that my mic was basically distorted all the way.
Oh
So by
God.
the time we finished the first movement, the conductor turned around and said, "Can we please sort this thing out, please?"
Yeah. Which is kind of
He actually stopped and actually got and said out loud, like, to the back. So that was quite,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So for the
frustrating.
rest of so for the rest of the concerto, it was much better. But there's that risk involved.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I played with a community orchestra in Calgary, the Tedesco Concerto. First time playing with
Nice.
orchestra, which is, but it was the same sort of situation. They weren't professionals, but it was a high standard, for like an amateur orchestra. And but I was lucky because I had my own mic and amp that I picked out and rented and learned to work.
Mhm.
And it wasn't the perfect setup, but and it was a small enough space that I could do that. I kind of feel like I feel like you want to be in control of like the tech at that point, even though it's an extra thing to
Yeah.
worry about. Like I feel like it's sort of like, I don't know. Like I feel like you almost have to know how to do it yourself, but
Yeah.
but that's also an extra thing to ask the soloist to worry about. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, I guess, taking this opportunity to sort of go back to the question, I think classical guitar, with this medium in which you're expressing all these ideas, again, you actually need to be informed with so many different things apart from the classical guitar
Yeah.
to like get what is a convincing performance, right?
Yeah.
Again, the whole speech thing, the whole technical thing,
Yeah.
nothing is just playing. Playing and practicing is like just the beginning.
Well, and also add to that, if you want to have any kind of career, it's like, well, are
Yeah.
you ready to like know how to run your social media and like also like talk to other humans and like be a nice person, and like there's a lot of things you have to worry about that are not playing the guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your dad, Marcus, says we need experienced sound engineers who are familiar with the classical guitar as well. That's super important. Like I've had experiences with observing some friends who have like recorded, and you have the kind of the classic thing where you have a guitarist who's like a great player and they record with someone, and it's someone who's
Yeah.
like an audio engineer but doesn't know anything about either A, classical music, or B, classical guitar, and they just put the mic like directly in front of their right hand, or like not directly in front of their right hand but close enough that you get all these nail and string noises, and they don't know how to mix it for the guitar, and it just sounds
Yeah.
like terrible. Like I actually had a friend who came to me once and he was like, man, when you recorded, because I recorded some stuff for him because I have some basic knowledge, so lately I've been recording for some people and charging a small price, that kind of thing. Anyways, I recorded for him and he was happy with it, and then he recorded with someone else in his hometown and he was like, am I a really noisy player? Like, are my nails really bad? Like, do I actually sound like this? And I'm like, no, man, this person who records you just is used to recording like acoustic guitar,
Okay.
or some other, like they don't know anything about classical guitar, so they're not taking into account those variables. So that's really important that the person you work with, if you're doing audio stuff, knows the instrument. I feel like.
Yeah, I think if you're really lucky, you get to work with the specific term is the tonmeister, right? Where you have
Right.
those specific recording engineers who are trained in music. And I know a guy who's from Germany who's actually here in Singapore. He actually, it was a huge coincidence when I met him because he was a guitar student during his instrumental part of his course. And if I'm not wrong, he mentioned that he was a student of Thomas Kirchhoff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he eventually became a tonmeister, recording engineer, and he's working in one of the local concert halls here. He's really good. So,
Yeah.
it's coincidence. And I told him that we might work together sometime to record something. So that's
But that's
like,
what you want, because
the perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially if they're doing any kind of editing, because they know the rep.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked with Drew Henderson in Toronto, and did videos, and it was just so easy because like he knows the rep. He's just like, send me the score, even if he doesn't play the piece, send me the score, and then you do 3 takes, and he's like, great, and he makes your sound great. He knows exactly how to edit the pieces so that it sounds still natural because
Yeah.
he plays this rep, or has at least probably played the music of that composer at some point, And
He's basically running like 2 full-time gigs with guitar and recording.
yeah, I
And
think
he's
if I'm
like-
not mistaken, he eliminated teaching at some point, or at least most of it. So I think he sort of like worked to the point where, which is smart. I mean, like for him, I think, I don't want to speak necessarily on his behalf, but he enjoys recording, obviously, and producing.
Yeah,
videos,
no, of course, yeah.
and he enjoys performing, and so like for him, he was able to work out his business in a way where he was doing mostly what he enjoyed, which that's the dream. I mean, that's great,
Yeah, I first met him in Hong Kong. I think it was 2017. I think. Yeah, he's a really nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the ideal thing. Again, I don't actually mean that the person has to be a guitarist, but I think what your dad said is true. There needs to be someone who's at least familiar enough with the classical guitar or classical music to know what to look for, what to do, how to capture it. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we're not going to go back in time to where we just had to worry about how our guitar sounded in the room. It's like...
Yeah, but I think as technology advances, we are forced to keep up with certain things. And,
exactly, yeah.
As you say, when we start recording, for YouTube, everyone has their own solutions when they do their home recordings. So as we start to do this more and more, we start to learn more and more, and, hopefully everyone's quality of recordings will improve, and they have. So, there are a lot of good videos out there. So
yeah, and it's just a part of now being a freelance musician. Being a musician, you just have to know about audio to some extent and recording to some extent.
Again, you need to know a little bit about everything.
yeah, for sure. And Ioana says, I chose my own edits and will never do it again. You go crazy. Yeah, it is. Editing is a real pain. With Drew, I didn't have to choose. Thankfully, I was just like, you pick whichever takes you think were best, whichever sections, like whatever.
It's so hard as well, because when you listen to a recording at the very beginning, you think, oh my gosh, this is terrible, because you remember what you just played a minute ago, and you hear it and like, geez, I can't take this.
Right.
And then I was talking to, I think it was Jonathan Leithwood, about this, and we were like, you walk away, don't hear it for a while, you come back, you listen to it,
like, oh, it's okay.
It sounds okay, you know. It's just
exactly. I recorded some videos when we were in Granada, and I was fortunate enough to be allowed to record at the House Museum of Manuel de Falla, so I recorded like the homage.
Oh wow!
There, which is cool. And I recorded the Junta al Generalife just on this like terrace with the Generalife in the background, which was fun. But it was nice too because I was really busy. It was right before my first year exam, so I like did all this recording while we were there, like really quick. Then I came home and I didn't touch the stuff for 2 months because I was doing other things. And then it was the first time I'd made videos where I actually like edited different takes together, because I didn't get a perfect take of either piece. Like, whatever. I was like in the heat on the terrace in Granada, like, it's not going to be like flawless.
Yeah.
Anyways, also I'm just not a flawless player, but it was the same sort of thing where I came back to the footage and it was like, oh, this went better than I remember it being, like,
yeah.
I don't actually think it was any better. It's just like the distance from the moment sort of makes you feel better about it. I don't know. Yeah. Recording.
I know what you mean.
But editing is not for everyone. It's a pain. It's really annoying to listen through. And especially when you find 2 or 3 takes that are good and you're like, of a passage or a page, you're like, all of these are okay, but which one is the best one? And you start to like, just go nuts. I don't know.
It drives me insane, man.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. Anyhow, let's play our first game. Kevin, you ready?
Oh no!
This is what everyone's been waiting for: is the repertoire listening test. Sorry, the cats went through the curtain, so it opened. Okay, so you know the drill. I play some recordings, and then you try and guess the piece, the composer, and or the player.
All right, let's go.
You have one lifeline. You can ask people for help. And people in the chat, feel free to guess along. Ben Diamond says, game. Exactly.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, and you're not looking at the chat, right, Kevin?
Nope.
Nice. Okay. I'm just going to make sure I have...
I've been waiting for this.
Were you studying? I know you don't listen to too much guitar music, right? So...
I've not been studying.
Oh.
So I'm taking it head on.
Okay, nice. Okay. So beginner category first. There's 3 pieces in the beginner category. Here we go.
Dowland,
yes.
Fancy P5, I think is the number.
Oh my goodness.
I don't
P5.
recognize the player.
You don't recognize the player? Wait, just listen to it a bit more. But you already got... I'll play some of the ending so you can hear more phrasing. I can give you a hint and say it's a fairly recent GFA winner.
Well, I know the incredible recording that Javier did on YouTube. I don't think it's that one though, because the tone here sounds like
Different.
there's more depth to the. It's more bassy, I think.
Yeah. But is that
This
your
one
guess?
had more. It's not Javier, I don't think. Is it?
Okay. It is Javier.
Oh no!
It's his GFA CD.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, because after I remember it's like because after he played it from the competition, I think everyone was like, "Wow, it's sounding so great! I'm gonna give it a try." So
Right, yeah, there's a lot of people play it. There's also a really nice CD of Dallin by Michael Button that I recently found, which is really nice.
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, it does.
Sorry, Javier.
Sorry, Javier. It does sound very different on the GFA CD than the. It's not bad, but it's just the live videos sound quite different than the. I know. I remember. I was listening to an interview with him on David's thing, the tone based thing, David Steinhardt's podcast, and he was saying on there that he switched from playing like I don't know, it was some kind of double top he was playing before, or like a lattice or something. He switched to playing traditional guitars. Like traditional bracing. So if that's true, maybe this recording was like one of the first recordings with a different kind of guitar.
All right, maybe. Well, the French school. I mean, I've known Judy Kyle since I was 6.
Yeah.
And he's been a huge mentor for me, and that entire school, the Smallman, the whole double top thing, the whole deal.
Double top lattice. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
That's what he said. That was a few years ago, though. That podcast came out, so maybe he's changed his mind since then. But he was saying to David, if I remember correctly, he was saying that he's like playing more traditional fan brace type guitars. Anyhow, it could be that, or it just could be the mixing on the CD is different, so the tone is not recognizable.
Maybe.
Right? Yeah. But you can tell it's him from the phrasing a little bit. Anyways, 2 out of 3, not bad.
Yeah.
That was real fast getting the name of the fantasy. I think I would have had a little bit of trouble. I would have had a couple guesses.
I just happened to know that one.
Nice. Okay. Number 2. Any idea?
Nope.
It's not La Robin. I'll play it in a later section. Maybe that will help. Oh, Joanna got the player right already. Any idea what the composer is?
No.
No. It's Ben Diamond says we need Mikey McKints. Okay, I'll be Mikey McKints. It's a Baroque composer, so it's a transcription.
Uh-huh.
It's not Cimarosa, Ioana, but she got the player right.
It kind of reminds me of. It's bringing me towards Scarlatti Sonata genre.
Yes, it is Scarlatti Sonata. It's a Scarlatti Sonata.
Damn. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, this is the beginner category. I'm not gonna put like some weird
Yeah. Okay.
unknown Baroque composer in the beginner category. Not Gaspar Sense. Wow, the chat is really falling short today. Oh my goodness. Although Ioana got the player right already, so that's good.
Yeah, that one's hard to put down. Great tone though.
Yeah, for sure. This player teaches in the U.S. Highly respected player and teacher as well. Sorry, that's not much of a hint. There's a lot of people.
Is it Bill or Scott?
Nope. Don't think this player's American. No, not at all.
Okay.
Definitely
Okay.
not. I was right about the nationality. I wanted to say it, but then I was like, what if I get it wrong? It's not an American guitarist. Not European, not
Yikes.
American. I'll give you that.
English?
Nope. Cuban. It's about a
Okay. Oh, damn it.
It's okay. You still got Scarlatti Sonata, so that's still 2 out of 3. Not bad. You're two for 3 for both, Kevin. This is not bad.
Now that you mention Manuel, it makes sense because of the tone. I should have put a finger on that. Damn. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit hard to guess the player just from the tone. Nicholas Hammond says, LOL, Kev, your sweater looks like pixels. I thought, why is his torso in such worse resolution than his face?
Oh, no.
No, it's just the sweater. It's fine. Okay, next one. Any idea?
That's the first movement of Turina Sonata, but I
Yes.
can't pin the player.
Okay.
I mean, the old recording kind of...
Yeah.
definitely-
It's not Segovia, but it's a contemporary of his.
Yeah, it's not Segovia.
You want to hear a later section? This guitarist looks a little bit like a turtle, I think. Ioana's got the player. Wow, Ioana's just great at guessing the player.
I don't know if I'm completely wrong.
You can take a
Your
few
bet?
guesses. Not your bets, but you can take a few guesses. Ben Batman looks like a turtle. He does, though.
I don't know the actual turtle reference, though. I wouldn't be able to...
Just visually, I don't know, yeah. Just start naming contemporaries of Segovia. I'll give you 3 more guesses. Plays a guitar that's way too big for real life.
Huh. Actually, no, I still have no clue.
It's Narciso Yepe.
Oh.
Yeah. Still 2 for 3.
To be fair, I've not actually listened to a lot of his stuff.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, he does some interesting things. Like, I mean, I actually like his playing a lot, but
But he played 10 string. Right?
yes, that's why I said too big for real life.
Right.
The guitar. What is it called? There was a recording of his that I listened to recently, where in the Invocación y Danza, he does, like, instead of the sweeps, he does like these rasgueados.
Oh, okay.
Which is super weird. I was like, what the hell is happening? Yeah, it was on the stream, and I think I like ranted about it for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
It was bad. Okay, so in the beginner category, you got 6 out of 9. Not bad. Very.
Nico, if you're still out there, love you, man.
Exactly.
I know he's doing all those video recordings, right? So he's probably like, pixel here, pixel there.
Yeah,
His
exactly.
videos look incredible. They look super amazing.
Yeah, they're
I love
incredible. All the open strings Berlin things are awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay, intermediate level. You ready?
Let's go.
Why are you giving me that face?
Man, I just can't put the name of the piece because I've been hearing a certain Evan Tauscher play this like crazy.
Yes,
recently.
Evan Tauscher plays this is like every day. Every second video on Instagram is Evan Tauscher playing this.
Yeah, I know. This is Rodrigo, right?
No, not Rodrigo. I'll give you another guess. Nicolas says, that was a trill. I got it. Very good. Very good, Nicholas. I'm very proud of you. Oh, Joanna guessed the wrong composer also. Not Tárrega, not Rodrigo. Ben got it. Ben's got the piece and the composer.
Oh, damn. I've seen it.
Do you want to hear a bit more? I don't know if that helps.
I mean, I recognize it.
It's not Evan playing, though. I can give you that. not David Russellbin.
Okay, hold on. Let me give a quick stab. On the piece though, it's like it's supposed to be a capriccio or something?
Yes, it's a Pavan Capriccio. So I'll give you the name of the piece for that. Pavan Capriccio, not by Rodrigo, but by also not a guitarist, composer.
Albanius.
Albanius, correct. Very good.
Yes.
And the player?
Ooh. Well, it's not Evan. Right.
Isaac Inglis, is this a Granados piece? No, Albanius piece. It's not Evan.
No.
I think I know the nationality of this player, but I'm like second guessing myself, so I'm quickly gonna Google it, just to make sure I don't embarrass myself. But now I've admitted I didn't know, so there you go. Okay, this doesn't tell. Oh yes, Brazilian guitarist.
Ah.
Quite sure. I hope I got that right.
What? Wow. Okay.
Fabio Zanon.
Oh dang.
Yeah, you're just having trouble with the player, but you're getting everything else. Like you've got literally every other point.
Yeah. Damn.
Okay. That one's done. Okay. Next one. You ready for this?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know this one straight. I recognize this. Isn't that YouTube recording of the Copenhagen guitar duo doing this?
It's not a YouTube recording, but I didn't know.
Oh, okay,
that's
yikes,
cool,
okay. Okay, never mind.
No, but I think you know what the piece is, right?
Yeah.
What is the piece?
Nagoya Guitarist.
Nagoya Guitarist by Steve Reich. Yeah, Reich? I don't know.
Reich is the right way. Yeah.
I will give you a big hint. This is not a duo playing it, but a guitarist who recorded both parts themselves for a CD. Okay, Matthias is correcting me. I don't think he teaches in Europe. That is entirely possible. Maybe I saw him teaching at some festivals here and assumed. I'm sorry, everybody, if I got it wrong.
Zanon teaches at the Royal Academy in London. That I know. As
oh, okay. So, but maybe he's a guest. Maybe he's like here, or he's in Europe like some part of the year or something. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, any idea who this player?
Still
is?
no idea on the player though.
Okay, the player is intimately connected with this version of the piece. I'll put it that way.
Well, Tannenbaum arranged this version of the piece.
Is that your guess?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's David Tannenbaum. Nice.
Ah.
Yes, that was a big hint, but okay. I was in a generous mood, Kevin.
Yeah, I'll concede that one.
Okay. Yeah, it's David Tannenbaum on a CD called, what is this CD called? Just Guitar Recital, but it has a bunch of pieces that he was sort of involved with, I think, or commissioned or something. Yeah.
Cool.
It must have been a
yeah,
bit.
He's been doing some interesting stuff in that direction. Yeah, he's been.
Yeah, his recordings are super cool, actually. Okay, next one. Any idea?
No clue.
Really? What about a later section, maybe? That'll help. Or maybe this section. Ben Diamond and Matthias have got it together. It's not Assad. It's not Sergio Assad, Joanna. But Matthias has the correct composer.
Damn.
No,
Nationality
it's not.
composer?
It's not that one, Matthias. It's a different one. Different one of those pieces. Nationality Cuban.
I mean,
Jose's got it.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
If it's Cuban, it's Brouwer.
Yes, it's Brouwer. Correct. It is Brouwer. And which piece is it? One of the.
Is it one of the sonatas?
Yes. Which one? You have to get the sonata. I'm not just gonna let you get
Jesus
away
Christ.
with. Start. You have 2 guesses out of 6. 2 out of
Yeah,
6.
yeah. Jesus Christ.
You can eliminate the first sonata, right?
Yeah, I can eliminate this first sonata. Is it 5?
No, I played 5, but it's not 5.
Yikes.
Tim Beattie plays this one. Tim Beattie plays this movement in like every online competition ever. If you search Tim Beattie
4?
on YouTube, yeah, no, not 4. You use your 2 guesses. It's number 2.
Yeah, don't worry. I knew it's not 3. That
Okay,
I know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's 2. Okay, damn. Okay, yikes.
Yeah, and who's the player? Recently recorded a lot of Brouwer.
Recently recorded a lot of Brouwer.
Yes. Nicholas Hauman 7. LOL. No, it's not the 7th. The unknown 7th sonata. Ben says
Yeah,
Tim
the
absolutely
unknown
kills the sonata.
25th Caprice.
Yeah,
right?
actually,
Yeah.
I have to say, I mean, no offense to this player, but I think that Tim's version is the best I've ever heard. I really love how he plays this piece.
Nice. I gotta go
BT.
listen to that. I'm guilty of that. Wow. Okay. Player who recorded Brouwer recently. I was going to say based on that comment, Rene, but the issue is I don't think he has played that sonata before, so I don't think so.
He's
it's him.
recorded any of the sonatas, actually. He's recorded.
Yeah,
a bunch of other-
exactly.
He was recorded like the Camera Negro and like a bunch of other smaller pieces also. Yeah, but not the sonatas.
Wow, this one was really tough. Yeah, I admit I have.
It's Ricardo Gayen.
Ah, damn.
He has
I should have guessed that name because he did number 4, didn't he?
He did all 6, and the 4th and the 6th were dedicated to him actually.
Yeah, exactly.
He
yeah.
commissioned both.
That's
yeah,
right.
and he recently recorded all 6. It's on Spotify now as of a few months ago, I think. Okay, but you got 1 out of 3 because you got Brouwer.
Yeah, I've not met him before, but I heard he's an amazing player. I mean, I've heard some online stuff. He's really great and great teacher. I've met some of his students before.
Yeah, I've heard he's a really good teacher actually. So
Yeah,
6
yeah.
out of 9 intermediate. Also, you're keeping your score consistent, Kevin.
All right.
Okay, you ready for advanced category?
No.
You better prepare.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do this.
No clue to begin with. Jeez.
French composer.
Nani? French composer.
Later section maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben Diamond already has this. Wow, Ben, how do you know this? Oh, Ben played this piece literally yesterday. Oh, that's funny. Oh, wait, I knew you played this piece, Ben. Now I feel like a jerk. I've actually literally seen Instagram videos of Ben playing this piece.
Jeez.
Nicholas says Debussy. I love these guesses, Nicholas. This is excellent. This is like quality. Like I love all the useless responses. This is good. Okay. Joanna Gunderver says very nice person. Also, we studied together in Dusseldorf. Cool. Neato. I think she's talking about Gayen. French composer. too many more hints will just be. What is a
Yeah.
guitarist?
Let me guess. Has this composer written a piece for 10-string guitar?
I don't know, actually.
Okay, then I'm thinking of the wrong guy. Yeah, if it's never mind.
Was a guitarist?
I don't know. I'm completely stumped on this one, I'm afraid.
It's
French
Roland Diens.
Oh, shit.
Kevin, it's okay. Don't worry. And any idea on the piece, or do you want to just try and get the player from hints? I don't think I can give you enough hints for the piece because I don't really know that much about this piece either.
Can I hear a little bit again? Sorry.
Sure. Yeah. It's an homage to a famous Brazilian composer.
The player's not French.
No, the player is
Right.
Greek player.
Greek player.
It is not Rosie
know that many
Bennett,
Greek-
Nicholas.
Do I know any Greek players?
This player's from a slightly older generation.
Kostas?
Not Costas, no. Ben knows the player.
It's not Kotsioulis, huh?
And Jose Cueto got the piece also. The piece is homage to Villalobos, by the way.
Villalobos.
Rosie says, "Hey Nick, got your message." Okay, you guys can have a little reunion in the chat. It's fine.
I was gonna say Villalobos, so that I think.
I'll give you half a point for that then.
Yeah, you can get.
Homage to Villalobos. The Greek player. Any idea?
No, but
It's
no.
It's Elena Papandreou.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that at all. I
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
don't know her playing very well.
I didn't know
be
her
honest,
playing
yeah.
actually at all until I got into this, like looking for things for the stream and found her recording stuff. She has a whole CD of Dian's actually.
Damn! Wow.
Yeah, nice. It's a good
I
recording.
need to check that out.
Okay, so you get half a point for
Half a point. Yeah.
what was it you got it for? Oh, knowing Villalobos. Okay. Next one. Any idea?
Can I use my lifeline now?
Yes, you can use your lifeline. People in the audience, help Kevin. I'll give some hints too. This is a very unknown piece by a very well-known guitar composer. It's not Tadega, Ben. Yeah, Matthias, this is tremolo. Thanks, Matthias. Nicolas says, "Bravo, Kev, you're doing great. This is hard stuff. Look at me." Ioana says, Ioana got the player, so she's helped you get the player. David Russell.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Very well-known composer who wrote a lot of tremolo pieces, actually. This composer is known for tremolo pieces. And Jose Cueto got the composer for you, is Barrios.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But I don't know if anyone's going to get the piece for you. People, I'll play more of the piece. You guys can try and guess for Kevin. Yeah, Rosie, it is Barrios. You're correct. This is like a random Barrios piece I found, and I was like, this will do for the advanced category. Because I thought at least it's David Russell and it's Barrios. I thought, like, that might be like...
That's sneaky because I'm pretty sure, like, if you said, like, okay, someone who writes tremolo pieces, then people will be like, okay, yeah, it's Barrios. But then they wouldn't necessarily know the actual piece, though.
It's true. Jose Cueto says...
I mean, I don't know a lot of Barrios.
He says it's not Conexión. That's not in the title. And Confesión. No, not Confesión. Not according to Spotify, anyways. Okay, I don't think anyone's gonna get the piece for you. The piece is called "Canción de la Hilandera."
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. So the
Well, I think that's a good lifeline.
Rosie Bennett says Hilandera. So, and I think there's
okay.
there's a delay in the chat, so she must have got it before I said it. So there, they got all 3 points for you, Kevin. Your lifeline worked out.
Yes.
All your friends
Thanks,
helped
people.
you out. You know.
Thank you very much.
we get by with a little help from our friends, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, last one. You ready? This one's a real doozy. Let me see. Here we go. Maybe a later section. Oh, Ben got the composer.
Damn. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I definitely don't know this one.
Okay.
English composer by any chance?
No, it is not one of those ones, Ben Diamond. No, it's not an English composer. It's an Italian composer. I'll give you that.
Tedesco?
Tedesco. It's Tedesco, yes. It's a very, not very well-known Tedesco piece. I'll give you another hint. It's a very much Segovia repertoire.
Do I know a lot of Segovia repertoire?
No, it's a cheeky hint.
Yeah.
Because Jacopo has the piece. Very good, Jacopo.
Jeez.
It's not Escaraman, Jose Cueto.
I was gonna guess like some random like Apuntes or something. I have no idea.
No, it's not one of the Caprichos de Goya either. Ben guessed a Capricho de Goya, but it's not one of those. The guitar is like an orchestra. Thanks, Nicolas. With such helpful comments. It's a tonadilla on the name of Andres Segovia.
Damn. Okay, I don't know that one because I was trying to think like, was it one of those pieces that he wrote like based on the name of as the motive? You know how he has like those notes and it spells like the letters of a name or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out, was it like one of those where maybe he played like on the name of Segovia, but I don't think he did that, right? So
he did. So
there you go.
Yeah, tonadilla on the name of Segovia. That's why I said big time Segovia repertoire.
Right.
Say it was Segovia's voice. I don't know Segovia's voice, I don't think I can do a good impression. If you can do a good impression, Nicolas, I'll have you on the show, and then you can just do the whole show in Segovia impression.
Yes.
That sounds like a good time. Okay. Okay. So, and the player is an American player, who commissions a lot of new music, actually. Not David Tenenbaum. This player teaches both.
David
who?
Starobin.
Not Starobin, no.
Because he said commission new music, I was like, but okay.
Have you not seen the documentary? That's his best quote. Oh, I think I've watched part of this on YouTube. The guitar is like an orchestra. Yeah. I mean, I always just know the My Edition quote, you know. Or play my transcription, that quote. Segovia quote. Anyways. My transcription. Play my transcription. This player teaches taught simultaneously or teaches simultaneously both in the U.S. and Europe.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how this person does it.
Judy Kyle?
Brent Crawford has the name. It's not Judy Kyle. Brent Crawford's got it.
who teaches in the U.S. and Europe.
Simultaneously.
I clearly don't know my stuff well enough. No, man.
It's Elliot.
I would
Elliot
have.
Fisk.
Oh, of course. Oh no. Yeah. Okay. Salzburg. Yeah.
Yes.
Should have thought.
Okay. So you got Tedesco. So in the final category, advanced, you still got 4.5 out of 9.
think-
Not bad.
Damn. All right.
So 6 out of 9 in beginner, 6 out of 9 intermediate, 4.5 out of 9 in advanced. You're like at least batting 50% in every category. That's not bad.
Phew.
Nice work, man.
Thank you.
I'm
I was really lucky.
I'm impressed that Jacopo got the piece like immediately. Jacopo, you're just making it worse for yourself on Tuesday because I'm going to have to make your test really hard.
Oh.
Him and Carrie are going to have although for them I have to give a quick, they're going to be my first duo joining as just a duo, and it's flute and guitar. So anyone who has suggestions for flute and guitar, please send them to me because I know nothing. So I need to.
I'll give you some stuff.
Okay, because I have to make a listening test by Tuesday for Jacopo and Carrie. So please, I'm just crowdsourcing this.
Okay.
I need the help. Yeah. Anyhow.
Good luck, Jacopo.
And Carrie, yeah, it's gonna be good. Cool. Well, you did good. Nice job, man.
Thank you.
Jacopo says it's the only piece I know. I don't believe it. Okay, well, we're going to listen to another recording of yours. I'm first going to give a quick plug. Everybody knows that pandemic is a hard time for musicians. So if you want to support Kevin, you can check out the PayPal donation link in the description. Please do so, because he could use your help, I'm sure. Well, I don't want to, I just think if people want to support you, that's a good way to do it. And now that I've been incredibly awkward, and you can also check out the Patreon page for the show. We're going to listen to you play some Albanese.
Wait, sorry. Remind me which Albanese this is.
You're playing Cordoba, man.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, this was a while back. This was, I think this recording anyway was 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. And this was when I was preparing for the... I was invited to do this young artist platform for the International Guitar Foundation based in the UK.
Cool.
I was very lucky. It was like a sort of like an audition process, and the 4 of us. So there was Renata Arlotti, Giacomo Susani, Andrea Gonzalez. I think that's her name. And then there was me. There were 4 of us where we were doing different concerts in different places. And as part of that, I had to prepare this for that program. And it was something of a larger project with my teacher because he arranged all 5 of the Cantas de España and for solo. And I've been working on that in the background for quite a while now. So the 4th movement, the Cordoba, was the first one that I worked on. Then obviously there's the famous Asturias.
Nice.
Which is just called the Prelude in this suite, right? So
yeah,
Prelude.
I've heard that, but nobody calls it.
Yeah, and then it got taken into the other suite, which then got called Asturias. I think it was Prelude first, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense as a prelude in a way.
Yeah. I think so too. I love all the 5 pieces. I'm still learning number 2 and number 5. Yeah, number 3. But how do you pronounce it? Bio La Palmera or something? I can't remember how. Yeah. So all these pieces in this suite are wonderful pieces. I love playing them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to listen to your recording. Isaac Engel says, do you remember the flute and guitar duo that came through the 2019 Northwest Guitar Fest? Michael, if you still have that program, you could use that for listening test. I remember them. They were great, but I don't remember what they played, and I don't have the program anymore, unfortunately. I was a bit distracted in that festival because I made it through the rounds every day, and I got to the finals, which was a lot of fun, but at the same time, it kind of distracted me from taking in the whole festival, because it was one of those things where they had a round every day, so you didn't really have days off in between to kind of or I think there was one day off before the finals. Anyways, yeah. But But that's a good idea, Isaac. If you have the program, please send it to me. Okay, so let's listen to your Record the Bot recording. And we will see you guys soon after. And please think of questions for Kevin. We have to grill him. So if you guys have questions, let us know in the chat. gorgeous. Very nice.
Thanks, man.
Yes. I loved every moment that I heard when I wasn't
Thank
going
you.
to get a drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Thanks, man. I
You
love
should
that
record
piece.
all of them. You should record all of them.
Yeah, well, I hope to if I, once I get all these pieces learned. But as I was saying before, like during the piece, like practice time now is just getting harder and harder to find. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining or but it's like I was talking to Renee about this as well. He was saying like because I actually visited him and I actually stayed with him for a couple of days,
Cool.
like
In Milwaukee.
yeah. So what he told me was like, oh, he gets some morning practice, he tries to get some morning practice in like really quickly. Then once he gets teaching, he comes back late and gets, some additional practice then, and that's it,
Yeah. And even
hard
for
once
me,
you start going on a roll there.
now that I've hit 30, like after teaching all day, if I'm teaching like 5 or 6 hours or something, get home I was like, I don't want to practice. And even if I do, it's like,
You're tired.
Is it productive? Like maybe it's more productive just like play some video games and go to bed and wake up and practice in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, man, dude, I was actually thinking that when I got into my 2 years of the military service here, I thought that I wasn't going to get any time to practice, but I was very fortunate to have people who took care of me, like who actually gave me like a spare room, and I could even bring my guitar into base to do some practice because
Oh, nice.
because of the job that I was assigned. It actually meant that I got quite a bit of time, in our quarters when we weren't training, and it just meant that I could actually just practice and get a lot of trying to maintain the standard that
Yeah.
I was at, because at the very beginning I had to cut my nails. I couldn't practice at all, and that was for a couple months. So that for me, I wouldn't say that it affected me that much, which is very fortunate, except for at the very end, when I finished that period of training. By the very end, I felt like, wow, my fingers couldn't move at all.
Oh, that's
So
frustrating.
it did take a bit of time to rewire at that stage, but it didn't take too long, fortunately. So
It came back, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
because it was 2 years as well. So
there is a reason that I think, as like once you're sort of doing professional stuff, you're playing a lot of the stuff that you did when you were a student. Like, I don't think people realize how much that the program they play in their undergrad and their masters is like their future program. To what extent? Like,
Yeah.
of course, people learn new things. Like, and you have projects and stuff, and you commission new pieces, or you learn some new piece you put.
but
in
you
the
spend so
program.
much time in detail, right?
Yeah, and so you sort of, I don't know, you draw on that stuff a lot, I feel like. Or at least I see a lot of people draw on it a lot, at least for the first
Yeah.
5 years or so of like building their career at the beginning after they get out of school,
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because now with my current course, I'm basically playing the stuff that I studied back at Menuhin School.
Yeah, because you don't have time to, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the program, most of it anyway, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when I went to the Menuhin School, just to give a quick shout out to folks like Laura Snowden and Rosie Bennett, because, at the time, I was at the Menuhin School with people like Rosie Bennett, and I don't know, you probably don't know the others. There were people like Daniel Penny and Sergio Bocelli. They're doing their own thing now. Louisa Reichelt, although she doesn't go by that name now, she's one of the guitarists in Mirror Strings.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and then the first two guitar students at the Menuhin School were Tom Ellis and Laura Snowden.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So that's how I got. They actually came back and started teaching as assistant teachers. So I actually ended up having lessons from my main teacher, Richard Wright, as well as Laura Snowden for a while.
Cool. That's awesome.
So it comes all full circle, because there's also like Richard also has this connection with Jonathan Leithwood.
Yeah, I
So
love
he would
Jonathan. He's great.
once in a while. Steve Goss used to teach at the school as
Cool.
well. So there is also another connection there.
Oh, hey, Laura says hi back. She's in the chat.
Oh, damn. Okay. Hey, Laura.
Hey, Laura. That's super cool. I love Jonathan Leithwood. Daniel Bolshoi
Yeah.
brought him to UBC. Okay, and sorry, just to pivot slightly, like talking about teachers, like this is something that I look back on and I realize how lucky I was that, I mean, Daniel Bolshoi was an awesome teacher, but there was this period of time where he was transitioning from UBC to Georgia State University, where he teaches now. He has a full-time position, which is awesome for him. But because UBC position was like part-time and just like adjunct, it wasn't like the best deal, whatever. Anyways, the point is he was transitioning for a year and he didn't just like up and leave when he got the new job. He stayed on. And he was living in Montreal, teaching in Vancouver and Georgia, and still like managed to bring in guest faculty for us that year. Like,
wow,
amazing. Like Jonathan Leithwood, Michael Parrington, Ileana Matos, like really good guest faculty, and still like saw us also every month. And like, I don't know, it just, when I look back at that, I realized how lucky we were that we had a teacher who like
that's actually really awesome.
Yeah, brought great people in. And the budget, I don't think the budget was that great at UBC, to be honest. Like, I think he,
to be fair,
he made something happen basically. Like, yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, that actually sounds great, even as someone who is transitioning to a different university, as it were, because I've heard stories where even like with a regular teacher, you still don't get all that kind of regular engagement with that teacher, because it could be someone who's really busy touring or performing elsewhere, and then it just means that you lose out, and it's really hard because they just end up having to compensate for lessons elsewhere, and it's not the best. So
yeah, for sure. And I mean, people have assistants and stuff. I think hopefully a teacher lets the students know what the deal is before the year starts. But I was just really impressed with how he handled that, because he brought in really quality people, and Jonathan was amazing. Jonathan Leithwood gave great. I worked on Bach with him, and he gave great master classes, and it was just excellent. Yeah. Sorry, not to hijack your thing, but it's really nice when you have a place where you're kind of nurtured that way, like taken care of. Or not taken care of in like a patronizing way, but just like people are there to give you the education that you like need, Yeah. Cool. Nice. Well, Kevin, are you ready for a little bit of Would You Rather?
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh yes.
Okay. All right, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, Isaac Engel says, I went to the Kaslo Guitar Fest and met Daniel Bolshoi there, and he was fantastic. Great player, great person, for sure. Kaslo is an awesome festival. He runs this little festival in British Columbia that's like in this small town in the mountains. And it's kind of like Carry On in that it's like very casual, and there's like a lot of socializing, but also like a lot of performance opportunities just in the city or in like the community, and but also it's like in the mountains of Canada. It's like of British Columbia.
I've never been to Canada. I would love to go.
It's amazing. Yeah. And he usually brings Mark Teicholz there, and like it's just a great little festival.
Nice.
Anyhow, sorry. Okay, would you rather? So Kevin, would you rather have shaky hands or shitty nails in a performance?
Oh damn. Ooh, that's a tough one, actually. I never thought about that so much. Say again. So shaky hands or shitty nails?
Yeah. Nails that just can't produce a good sound no matter what you do, and they're scratching and they're catching and stuff. Or like one is way too short or something. Or would you rather?
Damn, I could actually. Now that I think about it, I could actually go either way. But I have to pick on one, don't I? So I will. Shitty nails.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like if you.
I don't think I can stand shaky hands because of past experience where I remember where I would perform and my heart was beating so much, so heavily that I could feel it against the guitar. I was like that nervous for a performance once.
Right. Yeah.
And then that also caused my hands to shake, and I just could not hit anything I was supposed to play. Yeah. So I was like, that I remember that very vividly, and I'm like, okay, no, I really don't want that to happen again. And whereas with shitty nails, you could almost get away with that, because the thing is, you're gonna have a bad nail day anytime, right?
It's gonna happen.
You're forced to play around the angles, and you might be very lucky and you might get some good sound out of that. Mm-hmm. Or if you get like a bad tone, you can embrace that as part of your color depending on the piece. Yeah. So you can kind of still get away with that.
For sure. And you're also more in control. You can adapt a little better to the situation, maybe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, sometimes and also you also have to remind yourself that the little sounds you hear from the strings, people don't hear 3, 4, 8 meters out. So at least you can like tell yourself that if your nails sound scratchy and stuff, you can be like, well, the audience probably doesn't hear all those little things as much. Yeah. Would you rather go on stage and play an entire concert in your pajamas, or incredibly sick, like coughing, sneezing, runny nose, all that kind of thing?
Wait, say the second bit again.
Like super sick, like you're coughing and sneezing and you have a runny nose.
Oh,
and stuff?
pajamas.
Pajamas. Okay.
Pajamas.
Yeah.
Look at Sean Sheep.
Does he perform in his pajamas?
Well, I don't know if they're pajamas, but they look.
They look like pajamas. Sean, if you're watching, we respect.
Jumpsuit, red jumpsuit and all.
Oh, okay, we respect your artistry for sure. Amazing, that's great. I've actually never seen his performance clothing, so
I'm not saying that he thinks of it as pajamas or it looks like pajamas, but wearing your own outfit to a gig like that's. I remember because I watched him live at the Wigmore Hall very recently, right before the lockdown occurred, and I was like, wow, he's in the Wigmore Hall just wearing his own outfits, like yeah,
amazing. I mean,
stuff.
It's good to stand out, and express yourself the way you want to express yourself. That's like the point, I would say, of being a performer. That's awesome. Would you rather play only one composer for an entire year, or only one type of piece, like only preludes, only sonatas?
One type of piece.
Okay, I guess there's more variety there.
I would say, yeah, absolutely. I would hands down say there's more variety there, because too much of anything is no good.
It's true.
Even if the music's great, too much of Bach, that's a touchy one. Too much of Schubert. As much as I love Schubert so much, like I could listen to lots of his Lieder, but if I had to sit down and listen, in a concert, I'd struggle.
And also only play that for a year. I mean, you get really good at that person's music,
I would argue that,
maybe you wouldn't get good at their music?
You may not even get better at that, because when you start learning someone's repertoire, you're learning how to get good at it. But once you start playing his repertoire a lot, you're learning how to not be bad at it. You know what I mean? You got to learn how to maintain the repertoire at a good level. And the more detail you think about it, the more things you have to take into account. And it's like, oh, okay. Oh, no, there's so much to think about. And it's like you're trying not to screw it up,
But I mean, if that's all you can play for a year, you'd be reading through their pieces a lot,
Yeah.
So I mean, if you played only Bach for a year, you'd be sitting there with like the sonatas and partitas all year, just like trying different things. I don't know.
Yeah, fair.
But I don't know. But maybe I feel like the bigger problem would be parts of your playing would suffer. Like if you did Bach, your tremolo would just like disappear,
Yeah.
Like there's certain as a player in general, your sort of like ability to perform every kind of music would sort of suffer. I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And besides, as a classical guitarist, it's not like the modern classical guitarist is not going to, I don't know, I find very unlikely to find someone just playing Baroque music on a classical guitar or just playing classical music on a classical guitar.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's like with violin, right? You have a Baroque violinist, you specialize in that, you specialize in modern music. I think with modern music, you can get away with that. But in terms of like period music, maybe not so much.
Yeah, to a certain extent. But even people who do all contemporary music, like this is the other thing is we don't really have like the concept of like the only soloist, Like maybe David Russell and that's kind of it, like it's so hard now to just do one thing. Like you can't just perform. You can just teach, I guess, but like
the ones who really made it as soloists, I think I'd say John Williams, Julian Bream. I mean, of course, there's Segovia.
Yeah,
right?
but that doesn't exist anymore. Like there isn't an analogous
right. Yeah,
person
exactly.
now, so it's not like I don't know.
As in, they really created the peak of what was like an audience for like classical guitar like solo in
Yeah,
like
I
the
don't know
concert
if
halls in that sense.
they necessarily created it so much as it was possible
No,
then.
no, I don't think they necessarily created it, but they were definitely part of like the peak of it.
Yes, the peak of like being able to be just a performer for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and even beyond the just a performer thing, then you get into like all the different hats you kind of have to wear. Like I feel like most really successful concert artists now are in like super like multiple ensembles. You know, like they play with several different groups at least, and then solo stuff, and then they teach, and then they do recordings, and I don't know. There's so many hats you have to wear now. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, there's no way around that, I don't think. Okay, to shift to something less serious, would you rather have a student with a bad attitude or bad flatulence?
Sorry, say the second one.
Bad flatulence, like bad farts. Or bad attitude. Which would you rather have in your student?
I think the latter.
Really? The attitude's that important to you? Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, I think so. I
mean, it
instinctively
depends
I'd say
how
that.
bad it is, you know? Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fair, yeah.
Yeah. I guess a bad attitude is really brutal. I mean, yeah. Like, I hate leaving lessons feeling drained, you know? Which can happen.
Yeah. I don't know. When you mentioned that, it kind of reminded me of myself when I was a younger kid because
You
I
had a
was
bad
having
attitude?
this convers-
Or bad
Well-
flatulence? Which one?
Both. I don't know. I was talking to. I always talk to my dad all the time because he was my first teacher when I was a kid, and he would always tell me like he would always one thing I got away with learning guitar with him was the whole discipline aspect of actually playing guitar a little bit every day. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, Dad, can I just take a break today? And I can't just not do that. But then he always taught me this concept that he always likes to use called TCM, which is called time, content, and method. Basically, it's like a ratio of these three things. If you don't achieve these three things in your practice, it's just not going to be effective. So like, quick example would be like, you're putting enough time, you're practicing the right piece, but then if you're not using the right method to go about practicing the piece, you're obviously just being ineffective. Same with content. You want to say practice tremolos, but you're not practicing related arpeggios, but you practice some other random technique, you're not getting it right. It's not efficient. And then if you're not, then the most obvious one, time. If you're not putting in the time, you're just not going to get the most out of it. Whatever you put in, you put out.
Right.
So I definitely say that attitude is a huge factor. But at the same time, if the kid has bad attitude, one other thing my dad would say is like, you can force a horse to get to the pond, but you can't force it to drink the water.
Yeah.
Like I can give you the help, but if you don't take the help.
Yeah. I've actually had very frank conversations with some students where it's like especially because with adults this isn't really a problem because if they have a bad attitude, eventually they just quit. They just flake off. It's just like, okay, that's like better. Like you're not into this. Like it's fine. But with kids, it's like that's the problem is that sometimes they're locked into it for whatever reason. Their parents may not even just be like being unreasonable, but it's just kind of like you have to give this a try for 3 months or whatever. Anyways.
Yeah.
But I've had some conversations too where it's like with the student, it's like, look, like I'm here to help you, but if this attitude doesn't change, I may as well not be here. Like there's no. I don't know. With certain age, that can work to sort of have like a real moment. Be like real talk.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But then it's also hard too because you say like, well, you don't want a student with a bad attitude, but then people turn around. Like sometimes there's a breakthrough. Sometimes there's a totally unrelated thing in their lives that's causing that. Or that's exacerbating it. And like even in the COVID situation, like some of the students I was teaching online during COVID, who were like, already my students. Some of them just weren't coping well, and like there were suddenly issues in the guitar lesson that we never had before, just because like their routine was interrupted. They didn't go to school. They didn't see their friends. It's just a really hard time for them in general. So like it came out in them like lashing out at guitar, which was odd. But
it's certainly very refreshing during this period to work on different things. I mean, it certainly encouraged one thing for me, which is to ask my students to record and actually upload videos onto YouTube now. Like even more than ever.
Yeah, weirdly enough, some students like flourished and loved it and like connected way more with the discipline of playing guitar and really
Yeah.
progressed. And then other ones for other reasons, or because of their personality or something, or maybe their home situation during the crisis or whatever. I don't know. There was other people who struggled more. So I don't know. But what do you find? Have you found the technological aspect actually beneficial for the students, or?
I think there have been quite a few lecturers in the music community here in Singapore, and they've been trending with this term of synchronous and asynchronous learning, where you synchronous meaning you're performing live in the Zoom call, your student is anyway, and then asynchronous means that it's a continuous correspondence where they would send you videos, right? So they're not playing live for you; they're sending videos of their performance, and then during the lesson you can like sort of talk about it and discuss. And I found the asynchronous sort of approach to be very useful because, you know, if you just record a video, that's like any other, you know, like normal way of like uploading a video onto YouTube and just, you know, getting someone to watch it, you know.
I do a combination because I have them send recordings and then we watch the recording together in Zoom, like a screen share.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, you can do that as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which I think is even better because I can sort of get them to analyze their own playing. Which is like an important tool for a musician, just to analyze your own.
Actually, you got it spot on. Actually, it's sort of the idea of drawing out these ideas from them and forcing them to articulate even more. Like even during this period, it's gotten me to tell them to do those things more. And again, that whole idea of articulating, like we mentioned before, so if it adds to their musicality because if they're able to describe what they're thinking, it sort of gives them some perspective into how they can
achieve it,
approach the music. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
So
anyways, that's a very serious topic from a very non-serious question, but
yeah.
And those are some great like buzzword terms, synchronous and asynchronous. I like it. Okay, if you had to pick one of these two pieces to learn and memorize in 1 week for a performance, let's pretend that you have no prior experience playing these pieces, just in case you've played them before. Would you pick the chaconne or the Yobet's Variations on a theme by Sower, the full yes?
Ooh, ouch.
I know, right? Like the Yobet seems easier theoretically.
No,
but then
a student of mine has asked me recently whether she could play this piece, and I was like, no.
I don't want to play that piece.
Yeah, right. So on that basis, I would actually. It sounds crazy because I really don't. Yeah, I'd say chaconne, purely because of the idea that orally I would know the piece a lot better.
Yeah, and also like with the chaconne, I feel like there are more musical barriers if you're not comfortable in the style, but if you can wrap your head around like what you want to achieve from this Baroque violin music, technically it's not that bad. It's just the memory.
Yeah, you have a lot more extended techniques in the Yobet than the chaconne.
Just don't play Carlos' version of the chaconne. That's all.
I went. Ooh, this might be a bit touchy, but I definitely gone through a phase where I hated the chaconne on the guitar.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and even now, I'd honestly say that I haven't gone out of that phase yet.
Okay, so when you listened to my exam, you were like, "Oh my God, Michael, why are you playing this?"
No. I don't have anything against people playing it because I do play on the guitar once in a while for fun just to try it out.
Yeah.
But sometimes, because it's that whole exposure of having been at Menuhin school where I would always listen to violinists play it and hear how that compares to the guitar, and there are certain things that are just completely different where I'm like, it clearly makes sense on the violin this way. Why are we trying to emulate something that just, in my opinion, doesn't work in the same way? But I always go back and forth.
I feel like you have to make it a guitar piece. I mean,
yeah. Well, you see, that's the thing as well. So when I
don't know if you think it worked, but what Carlo tried to do with his arrangement was to maintain fingerings, articulations, and sort of like texture of some of the melodic lines of the violin, while making it a guitar piece in terms of techniques and harmonic like language and stuff, and like filling things.
Well, that's the thing. I think a good, that kind of approach makes sense to me when okay, with not the chaconne, but with Bach in general, sometimes when you hear certain arrangements where people take away, well, not more often than not, add notes that actually change the harmony, that's when it really gets on my nerves.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Carlo definitely
So,
did that at some point. I think. I think there are.
you
Or
think?
maybe. I don't know if he changed the harmony per se.
I don't know. I think
It depends what
with
you mean by
his
change.
version, I don't know it very well, but I think when you add notes, the harmony isn't changed. But there are versions of pieces where the harmony is changed when actually it's a tough one because certain harmonies are purposefully made obscure in his writing.
Right.
So the fact that by actually spelling out something, you kind of ruin the beauty of it being obscure.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't look super closely at the violin version compared to Carlo's version. I just wanted to try to like get his idea
Yeah.
off the page
And
into my head so that I could then approach it from my own perspective later, like
And ultimately it's a piece that lots of people want to play. It's
Yeah.
like so yeah, chaconne.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Chaconne. There you go. You heard it here, folks. Kevin's going to do the chaconne in one week from now. Okay.
Oh no.
Would you rather play with a chamber partner who has a lot of trouble leading and following rhythmically, like just not good with like the whole ensemble skill of that, or one who is completely dead in terms of dynamics and articulations, just like super boring?
Ooh.
What's worse than a chamber partner?
I guess with the former, does that mean bad in leading in but good in time when that person plays?
Like just bad at listening to the other person and like following them or leading them.
Oh.
Like they may be good at themselves, like phrasing and playing rhythmically, but they basically can't interact. Like you just have to follow them, whatever happens.
Oh, actually I was gonna say the former, but no, I think I'd say the latter because
Okay. The ensemble skill is too
Being
important.
because the being together is still more important than not being together, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's still more important, I guess, than like expressing something musically, maybe. I don't know.
Actually, that's a I don't know. It might be an easy one just to say, of course, just be together first. Like, I'd say that. Just at least be together first.
Yeah,
right?
okay. That's fair. I mean, it's also kind of an unanswerable question because you don't know to like what extent of it is, how bad it
Yeah,
actually is.
right, yeah.
Like if it's just a little bit like not totally together, but then it's like really nice musically, it's kind of But
Yeah.
yeah, it depends on how bad it is, I suppose. Nice. Okay, we're gonna listen to. Actually, you play some chamber music. What a nice segue.
Oh, you're gonna play that? Okay.
Yes. What is
This
this
is
piece?
the-
I have no idea who this composer is, and I didn't Google it. So
Okay.
you're gonna have to
Yeah.
explain
So,
things.
this one's really interesting. So this is the Sonata 46. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So, shout out to Emmanuel Sawitz and Yule for their YouTube recording. They played this piece incredibly on YouTube, and I saw it. I was like, wow, I must give that piece a try because I work with a flute player here in Singapore. He's Spanish, but he's actually the assistant piccolo of the Singapore Symphony, and we've been working together for a while now.
Cool.
Yeah, that piece by Anthony Joseph Landman, he's an American composer who's based in, I think, Indiana?
Okay.
I think Bloomington, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a really cool composer and writes lots of wacky things. It was originally for violin guitar because he was saying in the description that he knew these friends, violin guitar duo called Duo 46.
Okay, I know them.
And named the
Know them.
right. Okay, right.
Yeah.
So the Sonata 46 is named. It was written for them.
Cool. So it's not his 46th sonata.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the name. Yeah.
Cool.
It's a really really wacky piece where the guitar has to be tuned to third string F sharp.
Oh, okay. So like Dallin tuning.
Yeah. Well, exactly. It was precisely that which influenced him to do that.
Cool.
And this piece is really, really fun, really cool piece.
Awesome. Nice. Okay, let's listen to this Sonata 46. Okay. Very nice.
Thanks.
Awesome. Super cool.
It's a really wacky piece, that one.
Yes. Wacky pieces are fun to play.
Yeah, I had lots of fun doing that.
Nice. Okay, Kevin, can you tell us how to get good at guitar? Since you were just talking about how you haven't had enough time to practice and you feel like your abilities are regressing. Now's a good time. What technical tips do you have for people?
Jeez, oh my gosh.
Or ways of practicing. How does Kevin practice efficiently? You gave your dad's pearl of wisdom already with
It really depends on who I'm talking to. But I think I was giving a workshop recently to a society in India, and I was talking about performance. I was talking about technique, and how I broke technique down into 4 main categories, where it was guitar technique, practice technique, performance, and musicianship.
Okay.
And it was I talked about this workshop using what I like to call the toolbox approach, where you imagine like this sort of toolbox where you open up and you realize, oh, there's so many cool compartments that you can put stuff in. It's going to be really fun. It's like having a new bag for school or something, realizing you can put stuff in, but it's all empty, right? And then obviously you have a lot of tools that you have to fill out the box with many tools that you can use to solve different problems. And I like that approach with, I liken that approach to guitar, because one of the things I like about the approach is how I talk about multitasking, for example. So it's like, normally when you're trying to fix like a car, you don't take like more than one tool and try to like fix different things at the same time, right? You fix one thing at a time, you put it down, you get something else, and you fix a different part of it. So, and I feel like that's a very similar thing with guitar.
Yes.
With pieces, don't think about the piece. Break it down, divide and conquer, because the more techniques you pile on each other, the difficulty just gets compounded the more things you put together. So it's really, I think, about the approach and not necessarily just about the technique alone. So, and of course, there are times where just like tools get rusty or they get broken, you upgrade them. So obviously, if your tremolo is in a certain state and you feel like, okay, it's not good enough, let's work on that. We improve on different tools as we get along, eventually put them all together to fix the problem. So I think that's one thing I'm huge on. It's about the approach, practice. I know I'm not really talking about specific techniques in detail, but there's that approach.
Yeah.
No, sorry, go on.
I like that approach too, because I feel like it encourages people to think critically about what they fill their practice time with. Because we all have limited practice time, right? There's only so many hours in the day. And when you, like, for example, my feeling about technique, just personally, is that, like, it shouldn't take up a huge chunk of your practice time, except for when you're maybe developing some things that you're really weak in. But like, it should really be tailored to, again, like you said, the tools that you need to upgrade or that are not doing so well. Like the tools that you find are not so useful when you pull them out of the toolbox, right? Like, I think more and more people need to think about thinking critically about what tools they choose to work there to spend time and work on. That's a big part of planning what exercises you do every day and what passages you work on. And
I mean, ultimately, again, it depends on who you talk to, but obviously that should not disregard at all the music that you enjoy to play and the music you're making, because ultimately that's what we enjoy music. We do it because we love it. There are obviously pieces of music that you're just going to play and enjoy, and that's great. But when it comes to being more critical and for more advanced players who are thinking about that kind of thing, then I think this approach is very important. And then if I can segue to another thing, it's kind of psychology related, but there's this concept called the 4 stages of competence. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before.
I think so.
So I'll give a quick recap, where the 4 stages is unconscious incompetence.
Right. And
then conscious incompetence, then it's conscious competence, and then unconscious incompetence. So that unconscious competence. Sorry.
Yes,
So the idea is, so basically you're from a spot where you don't even know you've got a problem. Now you know you've got a problem. Deal with it. You're starting to deal with it, but you have to think about it, and then ultimately, it's second nature to you.
Yeah.
Right. So I find that actually very very useful. I actually heard it in a recent like lecture on brain-based learning recently, and like not from a musical context, but it was like it's something that you can use all the time. There are so many things we can do with our practice that we can sort of just make it more effective, because as you rightly mentioned, we don't have a lot of time to practice now, and like breaking practice into chunks to make every bit of practice as efficient as possible. I can keep on going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond not having enough time too, it's also not healthy to over practice.
Say again?
It's not healthy to over practice.
Yeah.
Do too much,
Yeah. If I had my ideal amount of time to practice, I wouldn't practice more than 4 or 5 at the max. That's my personal approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I think on the days that I do 4 or 5 hours, at least part of that needs to be not necessarily playing. Looking at the music, singing, analyzing, imagining those things, At least
absolutely.
At least a section of that needs to be that. Because if you just straight up play, especially if you straight up play at like full power and tempo for 5 hours, even taking breaks, that's dangerous, I feel like.
Man. Like, I know, like, I watched quite a bit of YouTube videos on like all those like how do you study and how like you be constructive and that different kinds of things, and like I've tried to figure out how to incorporate that in my playing. So 2 things that are really trendy are like the Pomodoro technique, where you practice for 25, you study for 25, you rest for 5.
Yeah.
So I kind of play around that approach a little bit, where I tell myself, okay, put all distractions away. How do I force myself to be as effective as I can within 25 minutes?
Yeah.
And then I give my brain a bit of time to relax, and then I go off, and then I come back again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then spaced repetition is another thing, like with memorizing pieces, right? So
Spaced
like,
repetition meaning?
as in like, okay, so in the context of studying, you have flashcards, right? So if you have a flashcard and you accurately remember the question and you responded correctly, the software will actively not bring that flashcard back until later.
Right.
Because there's like a curve where how long you can retain certain information before you forget it.
Yeah.
So before you hit the bottom of the curve where you completely forget it, they will reintroduce the card.
Right.
To try and get you to remember it. And then the more you space it out and the more you get it right, the longer it takes for you to forget that information.
Right. Yes,
So,
I mean that's basically all of like learning a giant program. That's like the whole thing. I'm experiencing that a little bit now. Like my friend Nathan Bredesen wrote me this sonata.
Oh yeah,
And
Nathan.
I premiered the first 2 movements on this tour we did last year, and then I did them during the school year, and then in the end I couldn't fit them into my exam because the exams were shorter because of COVID, and I wanted to play Giuliani and Bach. Anyways, and now I'm recording the piece next month to make like a proper video to like finally release it in the public.
Yeah.
But like it's this kind of thing where I put it away for 2 months and I was like really worried. I was like, oh no, or like a month and a half because I was preparing for the exam. I was like, oh no, I haven't really played it, like a little bit here and there, but like I'm really worried that it's going to be like gone. But actually, because I had played it a whole bunch with Carlo before that, I did the tour, I worked on it when he was writing it. Like all those other months of doing that meant that the curve was still long enough that when I brought it back,
exactly.
I was like, oh, it's still there and it's fine. Like I've had that experience with many pieces, but sometimes sometimes you forget how powerful it is. Or I'm relearning Junto al Generalife for a competition because I've done that in competitions for like 6 years. It's like one of my pieces.
I mean, the faster you learn something, the faster you forget it, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
The longer you've worked on something, it's harder to forget it like instinctively. So,
but I haven't played that piece in like 9 months, but it came back in like in like 9 minutes. It's back, just because like I played it before that for 9 years, or not 9 years, but like 5 years or something. But the human brain is crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then there can be things that you work on intensively every day for like 3 months straight, and then you don't play it for 3 weeks, and you're like, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's a really good thing to actually think about that consciously. I don't know how many players like actually think, how often do I have to repeat something?
Yeah, I think ultimately, I'm sure a lot of people know this. I mean, what you put in is what you get out, right? So I try to at least pour in as much good quality practice as I can, because I always tell my students, particularly in the context of muscle memory, it's going to remember whatever you do, whether you like it or not, right? So
Yeah.
if you keep on practicing bad stuff, you're developing bad habits, basically, and
Yeah.
it's going to reproduce those bad habits when you need it on demand. So if you're going to perform in a concert, you want to make sure it's the good stuff.
For
So,
sure. Yeah. But I just mean in terms of like planning, because of your limited practice time, planning out when you work on what passages and what pieces based on those
yeah.
curves. That's a tricky thing, like knowing knowing like kind of like what section of my practice do I spend on what thing, because it's very tempting to just kind of get into like last minute mode and just like prepare what you have to do for the competition next week or your exam in 2 weeks, or
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
So and I mean sometimes that you're just in survival mode and that's what happens, right? But
yeah.
It's a question of how to like circumvent that as much as you can, I guess. Yeah. See, this is the kind of thing that nobody really teaches you necessarily when you're studying, like it's not like.
Yeah, it's been tough. I guess certain things is trial and error, right? But I've been very lucky to pick up a couple of things along the way. So
yeah, but you'd kind of hope that like there would also be like a part of your education that's like intentionally talking about like practice habits and stuff.
well, actually, yeah, I agree. I think music education needs to be more holistic in that regard.
Yes, yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, even the business stuff. I'm really grateful that the Maastricht Conservatorium has had a class that we had to do both years for the masters that was on art as a business, which is
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioned that before,
Yeah.
but that's exactly the kind of thing at that level that you need to help you, because it's not just about playing, is it? It's also about how you carve out a career for yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't implemented perfectly. There's like flaws with the class for sure. There's like some of the assignments were kind of BS, like not really in touch with actual reality. But that's just some of it, like that's bound to happen with any class. The fact that they had us doing that, and I liked it because I actually was able also to use. They allowed me and everyone to use like professional projects as like part of our credits. So like.
Oh yeah, you talked about this.
Yeah. So and I actually used like my tour with Nathan as like an assignment for like a marketing plan for that class, which I was doing anyways. I mean, we were applying for grants and like making it happen and stuff, and planning the flights and all that. So it was just really nice that I could just like plug all that info into my assignment, and then like it just helped,
yeah, absolutely spot on.
But beyond that too, like practice habits. I mean, I don't know. I guess there are teachers who address these things in kind of like topical lectures and guitar, like studio class kind of thing. Like I have heard of that, but it's sort of up to the teacher to make that happen. Like it doesn't happen automatically.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I personally haven't heard anything that was like formally established in that sense in terms of lectures. So I love to hear that. I mean, not to disregard any of that, because I'm sure people are doing it.
Yeah, trying to, but it doesn't seem like it's like an expected part of an education, and you think it would be, because of how much practice matters for performers, like, and quality of practice and stuff. I don't know. Anyhow, yeah. Alrighty. Well, those are great tips, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's play the lightning round, and then I have one more question for you, and then we'll wrap up.
All right, let's do that. Go.
Okay, lightning round. You have to answer as fast as possible, okay? Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Bogdanovich or Brouwer?
Bogdanovich.
Spain or Italy?
Spain.
Scarlatti or Bach?
Bach.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
Solo or chamber?
Chamber.
Oh, wow, okay. Mammals or reptiles?
Sorry, I didn't catch that one.
Mammals or reptiles?
Reptiles.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Claudio Abbado or Herbert von Karajan?
Abbado.
Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Liszt or Chopin?
Liszt.
Wow, okay, really? Okay. Cedar or spruce?
Spruce.
Free stroke or rest stroke?
Rest stroke.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, shit. Tea.
Debussy or Ravel?
Oh, no, not that. Oh.
I know.
Ravel.
So hard to choose. Breakfast
Ravel.
or dinner?
Dinner.
Hilary Hahn or Joshua Bell?
Hilary Hahn.
South Park or The Simpsons?
Simpsons.
Campanella or regular scales?
Say again?
Campanella or regular scales?
Regular scales.
Oh, really? Okay. Sour or Giuliani?
Sour.
Sweet or salty?
Salty.
Tremolo or scales?
Scales.
Horowitz or Rubinstein?
Oh, damn. Horowitz.
Rodrigo Tedesco or Ponce?
Ponce.
Oh. Concert or masterclass? If you're giving it.
Masterclass.
Okay. Restoration of the composer's intention or personal interpretation?
Composer's intention.
Bream or Segovia?
Bream.
Mountains or beaches?
Say again?
Mountains or beaches?
Ooh, mountains.
Carbon or nylon?
Nylon.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Nice. That was very quick.
Whew.
You were one of the most efficient guests for sure. Oh, the Ottawa.
I really tried to keep it.
The
quick.
Ottawa Guitar Trio says Debussy or Ravel. That's brutal. I don't know if that's Nathan, Alex, or Frank, but hi, whoever it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That one is hard.
Yeah,
Man,
I know.
I can't pick between the two.
Yeah, I know. That's a really rude one.
But on guitar, Debussy is fun. Solo Duo has this great recording of the Sweet Bergamasque, which actually, it was a recording that they did in Hong Kong, and I've been trying to arrange that myself. I've been working on the first bit. I've also been arranging a couple other Debussy pieces for a violin and guitar album that may or may not happen. It should be recording at the start of next year, I think. We'll see how it goes.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm arranging a couple of Debussy, and then for Ravel, it's great that we have the Tombeau de Couperin on guitar.
Oh yeah, the Henderson Kolk version.
Yeah. Well,
So nice.
I love that first bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that prelude. The way they play it too is great. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have that piece at my wedding.
Say again?
I'm gonna have that piece played at my wedding, but not as a guitar duo.
Oh.
On piano.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I love that piece. Oh, Nathan says hi from. It was Nathan on the account. Okay, nice.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's a hard one to choose between.
Yeah. There were some questions that you asked that were just like, yeah,
Oh, I forgot.
Lattice
or double top or traditional?
No. Traditional.
Traditional. Wow. Okay, you're a traditional guy, Kevin.
I'm a traditional spruce guy. Like
Okay.
Traditional nylon spruce. Yeah, I don't know. I've always found it very difficult when it comes to double top lattice. You know how it is. I mean,
It's just hard to control them, or you just the sound you're not a fan of, or
a little bit of everything.
okay.
I've yet to find. Well, no, I take that back. That's not necessarily true. There are good double top guitars out there that I've tried, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess I just never had the pleasure of owning one yet.
And it didn't.
So.
It also didn't. It doesn't resonate with you. Get it?
Yeah. I mean, the current guitar that I have now, I feel like, the current guitar, that I have from Christopher Dean, because he's based in the UK in Oxford, I get to visit him personally, and if I've had issues with the guitar, I go to him, which has been really, really nice, and his guitars have been great. I first got to know him back in 2012, I think, and before I left the Menuhin school, when I was about to start my military service, I was like, wow, I loved your guitar, can I have another one? And actually, I'll quickly take a minute to explain the really interesting story behind the guitar. So Christopher Dean has consistently made a couple of guitars for us at the Menuhin school, I mean, for some of the pupils there. So the two first pupils of the guitar program, Tom Ellis and Laura Snowden, both had guitars made by Christopher Dean. And the guitar that I have right now, this one, is actually a combination of the batches of woods that that were used to make Tom and Laura's guitar.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So Chris actually combined the two batches and put them together to create this wonderful instrument.
Amazing. Nice. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the guitar I have actually is it's a high. It's a fan brace with like cross bracing, so it's kind of a lattice.
Oh,
Somewhere
okay.
between like a traditional and a lattice. Um, anyways, I'm really happy about that because it's kind of got like the advantages that I wanted with a lattice without sounding too
Uh-huh.
latticey. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Anyhow, but that's cool. I'd love to try your guitar because it sounds amazing in all the recordings I've heard.
Yeah. I think the one double top that I came across recently was actually when I was in Hong Kong. When I caught up with Renee in Hong Kong, and he was playing one of the double tops by Altamira
Okay.
that Hanson Yao made, and actually I thought, at the price point that it's being offered at, actually it's really reasonable, and it sounds like a pretty cool double top that uh, it doesn't have the extreme like double top E sounds. It's starting to sound more natural,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's one of the guitars that I came across recently. That's pretty good.
Renee doesn't really like double tops though. I mean, like he went on a bit of a rant about them in Carillon.
Yeah, yeah, no, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
during a lecture on
it's,
guitars that Freddie was giving, Renee was like, "This is a fad. It's not gonna last." I'm like, well, a lot of people are playing them, man. But yeah, anyways.
oh man, dude.
I love
Yeah,
Renee.
I remember like particularly during those blind tasting sessions at
Yeah.
karaoke. Yeah, I know. It's like it actually is really fun because you realize like, oh damn, I was completely off the mark,
Yeah.
with some of them. And yeah, and that rant about double tops with Renee, yeah, it's a continuing conversation that I have with him still, like
Yeah.
up to now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I should get him back on the show and just like do a whole show dedicated to why he hates double tops. Just kidding. I know he doesn't actually hate them, but he just has a strong opinion. Anyhow, okay. Before we wrap up, Kevin, I want to ask you to solve the future or predict the future of classical guitar. Where are we going? What do we need? What would you like to see? What are the problems? What's going well?
Oh no.
What will the future be like for us in 20 years, 5 years, 10 years? I don't know.
That's a tough one. Uh, if I may, if I may answer that in terms of what I see in Singapore,
Yeah.
and also and then elaborate, because in Singapore, we are really young, and again, there are only a couple of handful of people here with a professional degree in guitar performance.
Yeah.
I can count them in my hand. And apart from that, everyone else here is self-taught. So in that sense, the standard here has a long way to go, and that's something I'm very passionate about, sort of raising the level here in Singapore to standardize a higher level of technical playing. And I really hope that by that point, as you're saying, I don't know, 20 years, that there's a more generalized and more standardized approach to guitar technique, so that we can actually worry less about the technical aspects and worry more about the musical approach. Because ultimately, if technique is a systematic thing that we can develop, then hopefully, that's something that we can worry less and less, and appreciate more about the music.
For sure, yeah. But do you think?
So
I would say that in general, like if you take things on balance, the guitar is not in a position where it's having a problem with that in general. Or I guess it depends where you are. Like it almost seems like there's a surplus of, maybe it's just because of where I'm at in my stage in, development.
Perhaps, and I think as we go through globalization, I think one very important thing is inclusion.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's happening right now, particularly in the GFA, they're doing a couple of things there that are actually great in that regard. And sort of everyone's starting to be more supportive and more appreciative. I mean, I'm not saying that, we're not doing that now, but, just sort of continuing to build on that. And
well, we need, the thing is, it's now a global phenomenon. I mean, Western classical music 150 years ago used to be just in the West, right? It's not that way anymore, and which is probably a good thing. I mean, but as the art form grows, and as you said, globalization occurs, like we have to be prepared for that, you know, as an art form, and
Yeah.
moving forward with that too. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also we, you know, we have an increasingly wide range of people becoming composers, becoming players, and that's
Yeah. I think I think just to quickly move to one side point, it would be one part of it is education,
yeah,
even at the common ground, because particularly in like common schools, uh, you know, music as a subject is taken in Singapore. It's established as a non-core subject, right?
right,
So it's like, you know, not you 1 hour a week where you don't really learn much, and it's like, you know, I mean, okay, okay, I can kind of understand. Like recently, it's been all over the news. Uh, that a Singapore-based article had this thing about non-essential workers
right.
and an artist being non-essential. That was actually a Singapore paper.
Oh, okay.
I hate to admit it, but you know,
Yeah.
that was actually from here. So the idea is like, how do you change the perspective on that? Because, yeah, as we all know, that's just you know.
The problem is that a lot of artists do things for free, so people think it's not essential because they consume art for free. You know.
But that's not out of choice though. It's because of the environment that we're in.
I know, but I'm
Right.
I'm not saying that that's right. What I'm saying is that like the fact that people view it as non-essential is probably because they don't ever have to really pay for it.
Yeah,
half
that's
the time, you know.
that's the problem. Yeah,
Like, so yeah, I don't know.
that's precisely the problem. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
So-
But education, yeah.
which is which is why I think like for example in Singapore we have guitar ensembles in ensembles in like local schools where you bring everyone together, and I think that's a great step forward. But I think like if we can, you know, use that to develop the next generation of audiences, you know,
Yeah,
because that's also very important.
yeah, yeah.
Because we can continue playing.
For sure. I personally see the classical guitar specifically as very community based. Like I don't think we can realistically hope for like the kind of media backing and funding backing from larger organizations that a lot of other art forms and instruments can enjoy. Like I don't know. I just don't think we're going to be like on American Idol, you know, for example.
Yeah,
So,
but you're right that
So it's
you're right about the community thing.
Yeah.
Because in Singapore, I think I don't know how much I get grilled for this, but there is still that sense of isolation between certain communities. I feel
yeah.
where like, you know, I'm sure this happens elsewhere, but you know, certain teachers sort of keep to themselves with their own students.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, in order for, particularly in Singapore, when it's so young and you know there's not much going on, in order to actually collectively raise the bar in playing, we need to pull resources, come together, and, as you say, be a community and share our music with each other. We learn from each other and we grow. So
Yeah, and I also
Yeah.
I just don't think like it really annoys me when people are isolationists in every area of life, but particularly as musicians, because I'm like literally or competitive even, and not competitive in a healthy way of like I want to like try to be my best and enter some kind of, you know, competition and compare myself to my peers to better myself. But competitive in a way like there's a limited number of resources and I have to like get the resources before other people do and beat them to the opportunities. It really drives me crazy when people are like that, because I basically most of the opportunities I've had, and I think most of the opportunities other musicians have had, have come from networks that we're a part of.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. If I may add, I was very lucky as a kid because when my dad picked up the guitar, he actually picked up the guitar as part of a guitar sort of community ensemble.
Yeah.
And when I started playing, my dad and I actually returned to the ensemble, and that's where I grew up playing the Nibori style guitar orchestra kind of format.
Right.
And I really enjoyed that a lot, and I learned so much from that. And now whenever I'm back in Singapore, I try to volunteer my time once in a while. I go there and conduct a little bit when I have spare time.
Yeah.
And I do workshops for them whenever I can. And in fact, I'm actually planning one, hopefully works out, you know, just giving them 1 or 2 sort of free workshops next month to see how I can help out, you know, with the members there. So I think it very much a community thing. It's so important. We can never forget about that.
And another point I make is like from what I've observed, and this is anecdotal, so take it how you will. It's not real data.
Yeah.
But from my observations, the places that are the most successful are the places that have a strong community of people working together to make events happen, to make students enthusiastic, to give students resources and experiences like concerts and bring in artists and stuff so that the students are inspired. Like places like Austin, Texas, you know, or like what Dale and Thomas have made with sorry, not Koblenz, but their Iserlohn. Yeah. And also the Koblenz situation, like, is people who go into a place that you wouldn't expect to be huge for classical guitar. And over many, many years and a lot of hard work, they made something that, you know, continues to go on.
But
and attract
more
people.
often than not, it's these communities where you have the most influential and inspirational moments.
Yeah.
Precisely because you share that common passion with other people, and then you go into a concert and like, wow.
Yeah.
That's the magic moment right there.
But my point is, like, it's never like some player showed up in a city and it's like, oh, there's just like all this opportunity. It's kind of like, or like Emma Rush's festival in Hamilton is one of the best festivals in Canada. I would say it's the most fun guitar festival in Canada, in my opinion, my humble opinion. And it's one of the more important festivals in Canada. But Hamilton is like a small city outside Toronto that you would not expect to have. You know, her and Jeff McFadden both live there and have made something amazing, and other people too who are there. Like, there's a bunch of guitarists now there, but it's kind of, it just, to me, it's sort of the product of the people who put the time in, you know.
Yeah.
And then the people who showed up to be a part of it, you know, like the community thing. So yeah, but I think you're right.
So that's
education is big, right? So
yeah, so that's what I hope to do in Singapore. Ultimately, is the community.
Yeah.
Raise the level here, get more people involved, inspire others to do the same, and and I mean, I know I'm saying this for Singapore, but ultimately, you know, from the sort of global perspective, sort of the inclusion thing.
Yeah.
You know, making it more accessible, and, you know, we can all grow together, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's also
idealistic, but, you know, but
it's also tricky because not on the inclusion point, but on the point of like, we are kind of an insular community, classical guitar, a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And I know that people want to get away from that too, so I understand that it's like tricky with like, you know, sort of, how do you say, like, you don't want to sort of be stuck in the guitar bubble as guitarists.
No, I know. No, absolutely. Yeah. But I think ultimately, if you have the community mindset, I think that will always be a good driving force to have. And that will actually inform ways on how you educate, not just at the lower levels, but as well as at the higher levels. Because as you rightly said before, why don't we have a course in how do you approach guitar as a career? How do you, you know, implement the community aspect of that into your career? You know, all these kind of things at different levels. If you think about it, they will help you in your career in some form, like, for sure.
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
Definitely. Yeah, I think people just have to get out of the mindset of like always competing with one another, and more in the mindset of collaborating.
Yeah.
It's important. I mean, the greatest organizations that exist for guitar stuff are places where people are collaborating with each other to make something cool happen.
I mean, not to say that's not happening now. People are doing a lot of great things now. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would hope that would just expand outwards, and there'd be more and more of those little things happening that come together to make something cool. You know.
Yeah. It will happen. I have no doubt about it. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, when in each place.
It will happen.
And who's gonna step up and do it? And yeah.
Yeah, I'm optimistic in that front. It will happen.
Good. Very nice. We end on a note of optimism. That's wonderful. Nice. Well, Kevin, it's been super great. Anyone who has last minute comments for Kevin, let us know. Oh, Isaac Engel says, I love the community of classical guitar. Hearing about the world of classical piano from musician friends, it sounds harsh and brutally competitive. In my experience, the classical guitar community really encourages new players and growth, and that's awesome. I would say that's true, with some exceptions.
I agree.
But yeah, I feel very lucky about the instrument. I'm a part of the group of people. There are very few experiences I've had at festivals with peers my age and in my sort of generation where I've left with a bad taste in my mouth. It's quite rare.
Yeah.
I mean, it does happen, you know, with teachers, with students, but I think we're pretty lucky overall.
Yeah.
I would say. Also, it's a small world, so it's kind of hard to like get away with being not a nice person.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Anyhow. All right. Do you have anything you want to add, Kevin?
Well, I guess to everybody watching, just continue hard to practice and stay safe. Hope you and all your loved ones are doing well during this period. Take it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not take it easy, but keep on watching out for yourselves. And I hope you guys are doing well. I look forward to seeing you guys in person very soon.
Yes. Take care of yourselves. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, Hector Gonzalez says, I came late today, but I'll catch it later. Last part sounded like some great comments. Best regards to both of you. Thanks, Hector. Best regards to you.
Oh, man, thanks. Yeah.
Yes. For those who want to watch the rest later, it will be on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I would say link in the description, but there isn't one. Just search my name on YouTube and you'll find it, I'm sure.
Yeah, along with all the great shows done so far.
Yes. Hit that juicy like and subscribe button, Oh, man. Okay. Oh, I should actually say at the end here, I want to give a big thank you to my supporters, Mitchell and Joanna, the Patreons, and Michelle Oliphant. You guys are amazing, and it's awesome to have people supporting the show. And coming up next week, on Tuesday the 30th, I have Jacopo and Carrie, who are both in the chat today, JKL Duo, which is going to be flute and guitar, which will be super fun. And then the next day on the 1st, I have a special stream, which is a album release stream with Patrick Kearney from Montreal. It's releasing a new CD. And then on the 3rd, I have Elka Princer, who was supposed to be on earlier, but then she delayed things a little bit, which will be good because she just presented her research, which is on injury prevention. So that'll be really nice that she's coming on a little bit later because we can talk more in depth about the research that she finished recently. So, yeah. So it's going to be a great week, actually. Very busy week. Then in July, I'm going to have a little bit once a week or so instead of twice like it's been till now. Next week will be a bunch of people, and then it'll be a bit more chill from there. But yeah, I'll publish the list of July guests sometime this weekend, I think. So thank you, Kevin. It's been wonderful.
Thank you. Guys, keep on supporting his stream. It's amazing.
And we're going to end with... Oh, we have both Skirting and the Goss left. I didn't realize. Sorry, we didn't get through everything.
Dude. Is there
which
whatever you fancy?
Which one do you want to play?
Ooh. Fitkin is slightly longer and a bit more intense. Goss is on a more relaxing note. So
what are you feeling? Feeling more relaxing at 1:30 in the morning in Singapore?
All right, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's already 2:20 in the morning, bro.
Oh, sorry.
I know, it's okay. Dude. No, it's cool. This is like my nocturnal, like natural hours.
Okay,
Goss is nice.
Let's listen to Goss, yeah. Nice. And it's about the Camino, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
it's from his what's the word for song again?
Canción.
No. Cantigas
Cantigas the
Yeah. So this is number 6 out of that out of 7.
Nice.
Really nice.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Great. And my dad is in the chat saying collaboration is key to leveraging into greater impact, for sure.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to listen to Stephen Goss, Cantiga de Santiago. Is that right? Number 6?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you, Kevin. It's been great having you on. And thank you, everyone,
Thanks
for
for
watching.
having me.
It's great. We'll just listen to this recording and then finish the stream off that way.